Chun Eru retorted, feeling wronged. I'll be hungry. From a distance, in the office building, Chen Qing, having finished his tasks, was also observing the scene. Seeing Lin Hui's nonchalant expression made his lips tremble with anger. This kid has a thicker skin than an armored vehicle. Having led troops for so long, he had never encountered anyone like him. If he claimed Lin Hui was not a good soldier, how could he explain his being recommended to the Army Command College? Conversely, if he acknowledged him as a good soldier, how could he still act so carefree, treating the punishment with such indifference? Chen Qing turned and shouted towards the outside, "Sentinel." A sentinel immediately pushed the door open, reporting, "Bring that kid over here." Chen Qing pointed at the flag platform. Yes, the one with that insufferable look on his face. Fetch him here and prevent him from making a fool of himself. Understood. As the sentinel turned to leave, he suddenly looked back. What about the others? Chen Qing exploded with rage. Send them all away. They are a disgrace. Yes. Before long, Lin Hui was summoned to the office. Chen Qing poured himself a cup of tea and settled onto the sofa. He gently blew on the steaming cup before taking a sip. Soon, the cup was emptied, and he filled it again with hot water. Lin Hui stood across from him, several times on the verge of speaking, only to swallow his words. Each time he opened his mouth, Chen Qing would take a sip. After several cups, the tea leaves had lost their flavor, yet Chen Qing remained silent. As the fourth cup approached, Lin Hui could no longer contain himself. Vice Principal. What is it? Chen Qing lifted his eyelids and glanced at him. Lin Hui, with a smile, inquired, I was just wondering, the mealtime has passed, have you eaten? Chen Qing shot him a glare. No? How can I eat seeing you? Lin Hui responded with faux concern, I apologize for being unappetizing. However, I must inform you that consuming so much tea on an empty stomach can lead to gastric ptosis, frequent urination, urgency, and incomplete voiding. Bang! Chen Qing slammed the teacup onto the table, shouting in frustration, Lin Hui. Lin Hui straightened his chest. Yes. Chen Qing abruptly stood up, fixing a penetrating gaze upon him. Do you truly want to be a good soldier or not? Chapter 216. The rescue plan for Lin Hui. Leader, where do we even begin? Lin Hui stared at the fuming Chen Qing, his mind a whirlwind of questions. Chen Qing glared at him furiously and exclaimed, Stop with the nonsense and answer my question immediately. Lin Hui straightened his chest and replied, Report, Leader, I have always aspired to be a good soldier. This has been my unwavering goal. Chen Qing slammed his palm on the table, retorting, Nonsense. If you were a good soldier, would you have arrived late on your very first day? And not just late, but 2 days late. This reflects a profoundly serious attitude problem. Go ask around. Who else is like you? You won't find a second one in the entire country. Lin Hui promptly interjected, You can find one. Chen Qing was taken aback. Who? Suda? Chen Qing nearly turned away in exasperation. Was he jesting with him? He slammed his hand down on the table again and thundered, Answer my question honestly. Why were you late on your first day reporting to school? Lin Hui smiled faintly. It's a personal matter, confidential. Seeing Chen Qing's face contorted with anger, he added, However, I assure you, it does not violate any principles or breach any discipline. It is purely a personal affair. Although the old squad leader held immense significance for him, compelling him to defy orders just to see him one last time. To others, he was merely an ordinary soldier about to retire. Hence, this matter was indeed Lin Hui's personal issue. The fact that he left the military without permission, violating discipline, was an undeniable truth. Chen Qing was infuriated. Being late constitutes a breach of discipline. Lin Hui took a deep breath and stated solemnly, Leader, you are absolutely correct. I acknowledge my mistake, and I am willing to accept any punishment. However, I must earnestly inform you that I aspire to be a good soldier. Moreover, I not only wish to be a good soldier, but I also desire to become a general. Chen Qing stared at him incredulously, his jaw dropping onto the table. This was the first time he had heard a trainee express a desire to become a general. Although it is said that a soldier who does not aspire to be a general is not a good soldier, such sentiments are typically kept to oneself. Who, like Lin Hui, would dare to voice such ambitions? Nevertheless, Lin Hui's audacity indicated his determination. Chen Qing gradually took a seat, his expression softening somewhat. Then let me ask you, what is your attitude towards the punishment I have imposed on you these past few days? Lin Hui looked at him and replied, This is what I deserve. A severe penalty is necessary for me to deeply recognize my error. The military is the military. A breach of discipline is a mistake. If this were wartime, execution would not be excessive. Therefore, I believe your actions are entirely justified. Chen Qing suddenly found himself amused. Most others would harbor some resentment or dissatisfaction towards such harsh penalties. Yet, this young man appeared to speak with righteous indignation, as though he were particularly grateful for the punishment. Truly, he was a rare flower among men. He continued to inquire, if given the choice, I mean, if this incident were to send you home. Before he could finish, Lin Hui interjected fervently, There is no if. Whether confined or punished in any manner, I will not return home. nor will I ever remove my military uniform. Even if you were to record a major demerit against me, or two, I will not leave. Chen Qing was momentarily speechless, yet his heart swelled with joy. He was 100% certain this was indeed a good soldier. Had it been another, they might have cowered in fear, pleading for mercy or feigning grievances to elicit sympathy. Yet, Lin Hui boldly acknowledged his mistakes, willing to shoulder the responsibility solely to remain. Chen Qing took a deep breath and, with a smile, said, "All right, it's nothing. Go back and have your meal." "Yes." Lin Hui turned to leave, but suddenly turned back to ask, "What about tomorrow?" "What tomorrow?" Chen Qing glared at him, irritated. "Tomorrow, focus on your studies. Pay attention in class, and refrain from indulging in trivial matters with me." Lin Hui was overjoyed. "Thank you, leader. I shall take my leave." As he watched Lin Hui's retreating figure, Chen Qing chuckled while muttering, "That little rascal." He settled onto the sofa, pondering for a moment. Ultimately, he retrieved his phone and dialed a number. "Hello, sister-in-law. Have you had dinner yet?" "Just finished. What's the matter?" After exchanging pleasantries, Chen Qing got straight to the point. "Sister-in-law, I have tried as you suggested, but now I no longer wish to continue. It seems unnecessary." Jiang Lanying immediately grew anxious. "What's wrong? Is it that Lin Hui is exhausted, or has he collapsed under the pressure?" No. Chen Qing sighed. "I have realized that your son genuinely desires to remain in the military, hence I cannot bear to prolong this any further." Jiang Lanying was momentarily taken aback. "How could this be?" Chen Qing continued. "As a soldier, particularly one tasked with nurturing talent, I have extended my goodwill and posed numerous challenges as per your request. If he truly wished to depart, I would not intervene, but since he wishes to stay, I cannot act against my conscience, nor against the principles of a soldier." He inhaled deeply, apologetically stating, "So, sister-in-law, I am truly sorry." Jiang Lanying was stunned for a while before regaining her composure, exclaiming in desperation, "That's impossible. I know my son. He has never liked the military. He has despised it since childhood." Chen Qing smiled wryly. "Perhaps you still do not fully understand him. Boys change as they grow, finding their direction and beliefs. I can now affirm that he has discovered his path, and it lies within the military. Sister-in-law, I advise you to respect his choice." With that, he mentioned he had other matters to attend to and ended the call. Once the phone disconnected, Chen Qing felt an immense sense of relief wash over him. At that moment, he became acutely aware of a pressure in his abdomen, an urgent need to relieve himself suddenly surfacing. Hadn't he just visited the restroom half an hour ago? He hurried to the bathroom. Realizing Lin Hui had indeed been correct, excessive consumption of tea on an empty stomach led to frequent urges. He needed to act quickly, lest he burst. Meanwhile, in the office of the group, Jiang Lanying, dazed, set down the phone, as though lost in thought. Jiang Pengfei, concerned, approached her. "What's wrong, sister? Is there something happening with Lin Hui? Are they not allowing him to return?" Jiang Lanying shook her head. "It's not that they want to let him. It's that he simply doesn't want to come back." "How could that be possible?" Jiang Pengfei exclaimed, astonished. "How could Lin Hui endure such a life? With a life as monotonous and rigid as that of my brother-in-law, one would think he has made the military his home. I can barely tolerate the thought. And then there are the Lin brothers, Lin Rue and Lin Fan, who are no different, spending every day away from home, confined to the barracks. Is this truly a life worthy of a human being?" He exclaimed in frustration. "Xiao Hui has loathed the military and the life of a soldier since childhood. I dare say he must have been coerced into this. Could it be that my brother-in-law is aware, hence the warning?" Jiang Lanying's eyes sparkled with sudden fervor. "Indeed. That old brute is nothing but a relic of a warlord. He is capable of such actions. He has always enjoyed imposing his will upon others. While he may verbally express consent, he might well be scheming behind the scenes." Jiang Pengfei, filled with excitement, declared, "Then we must rescue him. Xiao Hui could be locked away in a dark room, awaiting our intervention." Jiang Lanying immediately rose, fists clenched. "Yes, my son is surely waiting for me." Perhaps growing increasingly anxious, Jiang Pengfei, equally animated, insisted, "We must act swiftly. We cannot allow my brother-in-law to succeed." Jiang Lanying slammed her hand on the table, her indignation palpable. "Pengfei, you shall accompany me in this endeavor. We must extricate Xiao Hui from this peril." Chapter 217. We have been excluded collectively the following morning. The resounding strains of military songs echoed across the campus. Lin Hui and his companions hurriedly rose from their beds, donning their uniforms with urgency. They rushed towards the playground. Their shoulder insignias removed the moment they entered the campus. Here, everyone donned the same red shoulder insignia, signifying their status as trainees. Hence, no one could discern whether they had gained admission through connections or had been directly promoted by the military. The dormitory where Lin Hui and his companions resided was rather distant. By the time they reached the playground, most of the other trainees had already assembled. Lin Hui approached the life instructor and inquired, "Report, instructor, where should we stand?" The life instructor, confronted with unfamiliar faces, appeared bewildered. Which class are you from? Lin Hui replied loudly. Report, instructor, we have just been assigned to class 10. Today is our first day of reporting. The life instructor, puzzled, remarked. There was no prior notice from above regarding new arrivals. However, he did not dwell on it and pointed to the back of the line. Stand at the end. We will commence morning exercises shortly. Yes. The group promptly took their places at the end of the line. Soon, all trainees were assembled, and the instructor shouted, we will begin with a 5-kilometer run. Right face. Everyone pivoted to the right and began to dash towards the track. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. The rhythmic footfalls were accompanied by spirited chants. Wang Yong, while running, wore a broad smile. This feels just like the good old days in basic training. He glanced at Lin Hui beside him and playfully chided. If only you had surrendered sooner, we could have been living the good life by now. Lin Hui rolled his eyes in response. While I endured punishment these past days, you all were absent from classes. Not at all. We were forbidden from attending, they replied. So what did you all do day by day? Chun Era cheerfully replied. Eat, sleep, eat, and repeat. It has thoroughly exhausted me. Lin Hui could only shake his head in disbelief. Truly, they had become akin to swine. It is no wonder that within just a week, these individuals have visibly gained weight. No talking while running. The two students ahead shot them a glare. Lin Hui scoffed. Aren't you talking as well? The two were momentarily taken aback. Their faces flushed as they retorted, I was merely reminding you. Instructor, Wang Yong suddenly shouted. I report that they are talking. The two students were incensed, their faces burning. How shameless to accuse others while being guilty themselves. Chun Eru also pointed at them. Instructor, they are talking again and even insulting you. Saying you're shameless. I've heard it all. Uffed. The two collectively felt as if they might vomit blood. That's not true. We didn't say that. Stop making things up. The instructor approached, glaring coldly at the two. You two, go stand over there for punishment. Their faces were filled with despair, but they had no way to explain. They had indeed spoken just moments prior. Yes, instructor, they lamented, stepping away from the formation and standing like poles on the side. Lin Hui wore a smug expression. Serves you right for talking back. Didn't I say you'd be punished? Once morning exercises concluded, everyone returned to their dorms to tidy up. The schedule here was nearly identical to that of the military. After organizing their belongings, they immediately rushed to the cafeteria for breakfast. Sit down to eat, commanded the life instructor. Only then did Lin Hui and the others take their seats alongside the other students from class 10. He took the initiative to greet everyone. I am Lin Hui, the new arrival. We are all family from now on, so I hope for your kind assistance. The class leader, Feng Chao, merely lowered his head and continued munching on his steamed bun, not sparing him a glance. We do not share your juvenile sense of humor. We are, comparatively speaking, rather refined. We are not of the same ilk, so there is no question of being family. The others didn't even lift their heads, continuing to eat as if Lin Hui and his companions were mere air. Lin Hui sensed the cold reception. They were clearly unwelcome here. Hey, you brat. Wang Yong could no longer contain himself and was about to stand up when Lin Hui pressed him back down. No talking, just eat. Since Hui had spoken, he felt it was best not to stir trouble. However, he shot Feng Chao a fierce glare. If they were still in the Tiger Battalion, that kid would have been beaten to a pulp by now. After finishing breakfast, the classmates hurriedly lined up and departed as if fleeing from a plague. By the time Lin Hui and the others finished, the table was entirely deserted. Suda glanced at Lin Hui and said with a wry smile, Lin Hui, it seems we are not welcomed here at all. From the vice principal to the instructors, and even the students, they all seem to disdain us. Wang Yong slammed his chopsticks on the table, angrily declaring, if they don't welcome us, then we shan't welcome them either. What nonsense. All right. Lin Hui waved his hand dismissively. Let them think what they will. We are here to learn, so let's focus on our own responsibilities. The others remained silent, but inwardly they shared a sense of discontent. Originally excited to be attending Lu University for further studies, they had not anticipated such disdain at every turn. Lin Hui calmly stated, we are here to acquire valuable knowledge. Upon our return, we shall apply what we have learned, develop our battalion, strengthen our division, and ultimately enhance the might of our entire army. Everyone's eyes sparkled with newfound ambition, momentarily feeling noble and grand. Lin Hui casually remarked, therefore, regardless of their attitude, we must persist in our endeavors, striving to learn, observe, and accumulate knowledge. This is our foremost priority. Suda clenched his fists and exclaimed, you are absolutely right. Even if the highest authority were to arrive, they would not succeed in driving us away. The others nodded in agreement, acknowledging that acquiring knowledge was the essence of their purpose here, rendering all else insignificant. Suddenly, Chun Eru expressed his doubts. Brother Hui, could it be that our lower educational background makes them look down upon us? They are all admitted students, younger than us. After all, he pointed at Suda, saying, Look at Su-da, he appears so aged, like a giant gourd, and he always has a stern expression. If I were a student, I wouldn't even pay him any attention. Su-da, infuriated, jumped up and retorted, "You're the gourd. You're the one who looks old." Wang Yong quickly chimed in, "Eru, how can you speak like that about the class leader? Looking old isn't his fault, but being unattractive certainly is his issue. How dare you?" Su-da retaliated with a swift kick to Wang Yong's backside. Suddenly, the bell for class rang. Lin Hui waved his hand. "All right, enough of this. We need to hurry to class." The others were taken aback and turned to him in unison, asking, "What class? Where do we go? How do we get there?" Lin Hui was momentarily at a loss. It was their first day of class, and they were unclear about the schedule and classroom. Originally, they could simply follow the students from class 10 to their classroom. However, that group had little regard for them and left early after breakfast. With no other option, Lin Hui and the others hastened to the teaching office to inquire. Upon determining which class they belonged to, they rushed over. "Report," Lin Hui called out as he stood at the classroom door, ready to enter with the others. At the podium, a colonel in military uniform coldly reprimanded. "Who allowed you to enter? Stand outside." As they were about to step into the classroom, they quickly retreated, standing obediently outside. Lin Hui shouted again, "Report." Student Lin Hui requests to attend class. The others echoed his plea. Sun Yuanshao slowly turned to look at them, his tone frigid. "So you still remember you were students? You were supposed to report over a week ago, after skipping class for so long. How dare you show up now? Stand outside." Without hesitation, Lin Hui continued. "The vice principal has already disciplined us. We acknowledge our mistakes." Sun Yuanshao interrupted, refusing to listen to the explanation. "The vice principal is the vice principal, but I am me, the head of class 10. Even if you called the vice principal here, it would be of no use. In this class, I hold the authority." Chapter 218. A man cannot say no. Wang Yong and Chun Er's tempers flared immediately. They were about to roll up their sleeves and confront the situation. However, Lin Hui shot them a cold glare, and they promptly settled down. "Report." Lin Hui straightened his posture and spoke earnestly. "We are here to acquire specialized knowledge. We acknowledge our tardiness was wrong, and we sincerely request another opportunity." Everyone stared at him in astonishment, their faces reflecting disbelief. Was this truly the Lin Hui they knew? In the military, even the mightiest would not dare to challenge him. Why then, in this situation, does he seem so timid? Lin Hui's gaze was piercing, yet he offered no explanations. Within the ranks, he had forged strong bonds with his comrades, and a little audacity was permissible. However, he held the opportunity to further his studies at Lu University in high regard. Lin Hui's system for advancement hinged upon continuous learning. He understood that to enrich himself, he must acquire new knowledge relentlessly. Particularly in the realms of computing and advanced military technology, these were pivotal objectives for his journey. By remaining here, he could grasp insights unattainable within the confines of the military. Thus, when discretion was warranted, he recognized the necessity of humility, for this was not his domain. Sun Yuanshao observed Lin Hui's unwavering demeanor, a flicker of surprise passing through his eyes as he straightened his posture. "You are Lin Hui, correct?" "Indeed. I am aware that you and your peers have been promoted from the ranks of the military, where discipline is paramount. Here, it shall be no different." Sun Yuanshao reprimanded without reservation. "Do not presume that a few years of service elevate you above others. Upon arrival, you must adhere to the school's regulations, otherwise, you may find yourselves expelled at any moment." "Yes," Lin Hui responded with a knowing glance, prompting his companions to nod in agreement. Sun Yuanshao huffed disdainfully, gesturing with his chin, "Stand at the back row for now. Utilize the evenings to catch up on the lessons you have missed these past days. With the monthly examination approaching, do not hinder your class's progress, understood?" "Yes." "Now, proceed inside." Lin Hui led the way into the classroom, where the other students regarded them with disapproving stares. Some openly exhibited their disdain, turning their heads away. Lin Hui, however, remained unperturbed, heading directly to the back row and standing against the wall. Satisfied by their compliance, Sun Yuanshao nodded approvingly. Initially, he had harbored concerns that these individuals, being rough around the edges soldiers, would lack education and seek conflict. Yet, it appeared he had misjudged them. He glanced at the blackboard and instructed, "Let us continue the lesson." Time flew by, and soon the sky darkened. Throughout the entire day, Lin Hui dedicated himself to his studies, only taking breaks for restroom visits. Wang Yong and Chen, unable to endure any longer, attempted to slip away, but Lin Hui restrained them, saying, "Sit down. You are not going anywhere. Keep studying." Naturally, they did not neglect their physical training either. After dinner, it was time for rest. Everyone retreated to their dormitories, preparing to catch up on the lessons they had previously missed. Lin Hui had his own thoughts and plans. Were he to indulge in idleness, he could do so more artfully than anyone, finding reasons that would leave others speechless. Yet at this moment, He was solely focused on acquiring valuable knowledge to enrich himself. This was his path to ensure he would not fall behind others and to realize his dream of one day becoming a general. Before he knew it, several hours had passed. Suddenly, the loudspeaker blared military songs. Lin Hui glanced at his watch and reminded the others, "In 10 minutes, the lights will go out. No one is allowed to sleep. We must use flashlights to catch up on the lessons we have missed." Wang Yong, cradling his head in despair, lamented, "Hui go. I only joined the military because I struggled with academics. Now confronted with these ABCD, Chen Eru lamented, in this light, I still believe the army is preferable. The pursuit of knowledge is indeed a torment. Well then, why don't you file a report?" Lin Hui, engrossed in his textbook, did not even look up. "When we return, you can continue being a foot soldier, and a few years later, retire to till the fields or tighten screws in the factory." The two fools instantly fell silent. Having finally attained the rank of officer, they would certainly be reluctant to return to being mere foot soldiers. Suda turned to the pair, "Stop your complaints. Only through enduring hardship can one rise above. Our foundations are weak, and if we do not study diligently now, how will we lead and teach others upon our return?" They nodded in agreement, suddenly enlightened. Wang Yong slapped his forehead. "Indeed, if we know nothing, how can we teach others upon our return and strengthen our regiment?" Chen Eru pointed at him reproachfully. "It's all your fault. I had just memorized that section when you interrupted me. It's truly annoying. No talking while I'm reading, and if you do, I shall ignore you." Lin Hui observed the two as they resumed their studies, a faint smile gracing his lips. Zhang Wei, with furrowed brows, was deep in contemplation. However, when he turned to Suda, he was taken aback. Suda's forehead was beaded with sweat. Among the four, he was the most earnest, diligent, and attentive. Lin Hui understood that he had emerged from the mountains. As the one with the lowest educational background, he was compelled to exert every effort in his studies. Lin Hui mused. No wonder the former squad leader remarked that Suda possesses a certain tenacity. With such determination, given an opportunity, success is inevitable. He clapped his hands and declared, "Whatever we undertake, we must embrace it wholeheartedly. Now that we are here, we must treat this opportunity with the seriousness it deserves." The others nodded in agreement and continued their intensive study. In the military, 99% of individuals would never encounter such an opportunity in their lifetime. Now that they had been granted this exceptional advancement, they ought to cherish it even more. At that moment, a sudden sound of footsteps echoed down the corridor. Immersed in their studies, none of them looked up. Soon, a group entered the dormitory. "Oh, look at the early bird." Upon hearing the mocking tone of a voice akin to a quacking duck, the group finally raised their heads. Leading the pack was squad leader Fang Chao, followed by several others, all from class 10. The one with the quacking voice was LV Gao, who resembled a cartoonish duck. Lin Hui furrowed his brow but chose to ignore them, returning to his tasks. The others followed suit, treating them as if they were air. Feeling disregarded, Fang Chao and his group's expressions shifted through shades of blue and purple as they continued their derisive remarks. Mending the sheepfold after the sheep have been devoured is futile. The foolish bird may fly first, but it might be headed in the wrong direction, lost along the way. At this point, any attempt at remedy is in vain, for a foolish bird will always remain foolish. Bang! Wang Yong slammed his pen on the table, rising in anger. "What do you mean by this? Are you looking for trouble?" The others instantly stood, glaring menacingly at them. Fang Chao wore a face that invited a brawl, exclaiming, Oh, feeling anxious, are we?" Suddenly, he adopted a serious demeanor, declaring, "Indeed, we look down upon you. Lack of education is one thing, but skipping classes for over a week? Do you genuinely believe that with your limited knowledge you can catch up with what you've missed?" Lin Hui shrugged nonchalantly. "Efforts yield results. Regardless of the outcome, at least we are striving to close the gap." Fang Chao laughed heartily. "Sometimes, your efforts merely illuminate how far behind you truly are." Wang Yong rolled up his sleeves, ready to brawl. "Damn it, so you want to fight? Bring it on." Chen Eru was restrained by Suda. "Don't hold me back. Let me take him down." Fang Chao ignored the two, fixating on Lin Hui. He had discerned that Lin Hui was the leader of this group. "We bear no ill will. We merely wish to inform you that, despite your efforts, it is futile. You started from a much lower point than us, and having fallen behind in so many classes, the gap has only widened. Therefore, I urge you to transfer to another class, where you can burden others instead. Our class aims to excel in this month's examination, and with your few deadweights among us, we shall only be held back." Wang Yong and Eru were fuming. Had it not been for Suda and Zhang Wei holding them back, they would have charged forward. Fang Chao sneered, "What is this? You're not convinced by my assessment of your inadequacies? Inadequate is inadequate. You are now, and you will remain so." Before he could finish, Lin Hui strode up to him, smiling brightly. Fang Chao returned the smile, about to speak. Suddenly, with a swift motion, Lin Hui's hand struck his face, causing Fang Chao's pupils to dilate in shock. Before he could evade, he was slammed to the ground, landing heavily on the cement. Wang Yong and the others stood in astonishment, mouths agape. The boss is still the boss. He talks the talk and walks the walk without hesitation. The opposing group, led by LV Gao, was taken aback, momentarily stunned. Feng Chao, dazed, struggled to rise, stars dancing before his eyes. Clutching his face, he glared at Lin Hui. How could you strike me? Lin Hui feigned innocence. Didn't you say I was inadequate? I'm merely proving to you that I am quite capable. Observe the strength behind this slap. Feng Chao, infuriated, shouted, damn. I meant your academic knowledge was lacking, not your fighting skills. Lin Hui, with a mischievous grin, retorted, well, you should have clarified that. Had you done so earlier, I wouldn't have taken action. Chapter 219, Walking Others' Path. Leaving them no path to walk, Lin Hui hurriedly helped Feng Chao up, feigning concern. You're not up to par? You should have told me sooner. This slap of mine, honed over years of practice. I thought you were capable. Wang Yong raised his pinky finger, disdain etched on his face. You look imposing, yet you turn out to be a hollow shell. Quite pathetic. Feng Chao's face flushed with anger. He swatted Lin Hui's hand away. No need for your false sympathy. The others quickly rushed to assist him, lifting him back to his feet. Once upright, they stood to the side, hesitant to move. They had all witnessed how swiftly and forcefully Lin Hui struck, and they understood well enough that they were no match for him. Any further attempts would only lead to humiliation. Feng Chao covered his face, exasperated. You all better hurry and leave for another class. We do not welcome you here. Do not linger and hold us back. Lin Hui turned his ear and stepped forward. What did you say? Come closer and clarify. I cannot hear you from that distance. Feng Chao, frightened, quickly retreated. I said you should not be here. Upon seeing Lin Hui raise his hand, Feng Chao recoiled in fear, nearly stumbling at the door. Slow down, slow down. As Lin Hui approached, a group of people turned tail and fled. Even at a distance, their murmurs of complaint could still be heard. You sure run fast. Wang Yong watched them flee in disarray, reveling in their misfortune. Chun Eru snorted. They deserve a beating. Let them provoke us. Lin Hui cleared his throat. All right, from now on, if you encounter such situations, no one is allowed to act. This is a school. No matter how much they provoke you, they are still your classmates. Zhang Wei timidly asked from the back. Then why did you take action? Lin Hui held his head high, a smug expression on his face. I am different. I am the deputy commander. In the future, when they are assigned to the army, they will be under my command. I am merely educating them in advance. Everyone rolled their eyes. Your double standards are truly remarkable. Even when it comes to hitting someone, you can conjure such a perfect excuse. He glanced outside. I will step out for a moment. You all continue studying. Do not be lazy. I will conduct surprise checks upon my return. If you cannot answer, you will face the consequences. The group made faces at Lin Hui's departing figure. However, they knew they had to study diligently. Unlike Lin Hui, who harbored long-term ambitions and goals, they merely felt that since they were under Lin Hui's command, they could not afford to bring him shame. In the dormitory, Feng Chao grimaced as he covered his face, half of it burning with pain. How could a slap feel like a bear's paw? Was this guy even normal? He looked about the same as me, yet his strength was overwhelming. Had he been twisting rebar at a construction site since childhood? Others gathered around him, visibly displeased. Class leader, you shouldn't have to endure this for nothing. These brutes promoted from the army are far too rough, akin to wild bulls. They should be made to form their own class. Having them here only drags us down. Lu Gao fumed. Exactly. We all earned our spots through genuine merit. I didn't even attend Tsinghua or Peking University. And now I am in the same class as these oafs. It's unacceptable. Another student chimed in earnestly. Feng Chao, as our class leader, you represent our dignity. This is not merely a slap at you. It is an affront to the entire class 10. Lu Chao nodded. Class leader, you cannot let this slap go unpunished. We must get rid of these few, or next month we will surely fall behind other classes. Feng Chao was lifted by the group. Growing angrier by the moment. Let us go find the homeroom teacher, gather more people. Let us escalate this. We cannot allow these few rotten apples to spoil the whole barrel. All right. The crowd quickly mobilized to rally other classmates. Soon, they had gathered over 30 individuals, preparing to lodge their complaint. They swiftly made their way to the office building, looking up at the illuminated office lights. Let us go. A group of individuals arrived at the office entrance. Feng Chao, acting as their representative, knocked on the door and, upon receiving permission, entered. Teacher, I wish to report. He saluted, but before he could finish his sentence, he suddenly faltered, as if a fishbone had lodged in his throat. There stood Lin Hui before the desk, wearing a mischievous grin. Feng Chao's mind went blank. What on earth is happening? I haven't even lodged my complaint yet, and here he is? Sun Yuanchao glared at him coldly. What do you wish to report? Are you intending to report on yourselves? Feng Chao was momentarily taken aback, unable to comprehend the situation. Before he could respond, Lin Hui interjected, Never mind, teacher. We don't mind. We are from the grassroots troops, just ordinary soldiers, not like those privileged elites. If they scold us a few times, it's of no consequence. Besides, the squad leader even offered his face for me to hit to vent my anger. I think I'll just let this matter go. Fong Chao almost sputtered with rage. Was it I who offered my face? You clearly acted without honor and ambushed me. The others immediately erupted in protest. Nonsense. He is slandering us. Never have I encountered such shamelessness. Bang. Sun Yuanshao slammed his palm on the desk, startling everyone into silence. Shut your mouths. Do you think I do not know your character? Let me ask you. Did you not just run over to their dormitory? Yes. They dared not deny. Sun Yuanshao continued. Did you not tell them to leave, claiming they were holding you back? The group carefully nodded. Yes. Sun Yuanshao slammed the desk again, flames of fury igniting within him. Then what does that imply? A group of you went over to bully them, did you not? Everyone's faces were filled with indignation, especially Fong Chao, who was nearly seething with internal injury. They had indeed sought trouble. Yet he was the one who bore the brunt of it. Observing their dismay, Lin Hui wore a smug expression. Serves you right. You sought trouble and got reprimanded. Didn't you? Sun Yuanshao took a deep breath and spoke earnestly. Indeed, Lin Hui and his comrades hail from the grassroots troops, and their educational background may not match yours. However, when you truly experience life in the grassroots, you will realize the hardships they endure. They have traversed a precarious path to arrive here, having exerted efforts beyond what you can imagine, suffering no less than you have during your decade of study. What right do you have to look down upon them? He continued. Once donned in military attire, one becomes a soldier of the people, as long as one strives. They are commendable, especially as they are our comrades. Lin Hui was slightly taken aback. Initially, he intended to take the role of the villain, to walk the path of others and leave them with no escape. He did not anticipate that Teacher Sun possessed such high ideals. Without sparing any mercy, he reprimanded the others thoroughly, truly deserving of his role as class instructor. Sun Yuanshao turned to point at Lin Hui. I am fully aware of what they have been doing. Though today is merely the first day, they have been engaged in learning from morning until now, without a moment's pause. As comrades and classmates, not only did you fail to encourage each other, but you also sought to undermine your peers. Is this behavior befitting soldiers? The faces of the crowd were suffused with shame, and Fong Chao lowered his head. Sun Yuanshao, pointing at them with indignation, declared, from this moment forth, no one is permitted to utter those words again, as long as they strive diligently. Regardless of whether they achieve tangible results, they are bringing honor to our class. Such matters are not for you to critique. Upon returning, each of you shall compose a written reflection of 20,000 words. Instantly, a pall fell over the group, and they lamented, if only we had known. We would not have come. You, Sun Yuanshao, pointed at Fong Chao, nearly startling him. Could it be that I am to receive a harsher punishment? After all, he was the instigator. Sun Yuanshao nodded in approval. As class leader, your willingness to admonish others indicates a certain level of awareness. You shall write 2,000 words. Everyone turned to stare at him, their eyes blazing with fury. It was he who instigated the trouble. Why was he unscathed while we are penalized? This is unjust. Utterly unfair. Fong Chao felt the heat of countless fiery gazes upon him, a sense of injustice making him want to weep. This is it. I am caught between a rock and a hard place. Chapter 220. Lin Hui becomes the public enemy. Number 1. Everyone departed with their heads hung low. Lin Hui saluted and prepared to leave as well. Teacher, if there is nothing else, I shall return to my studies. Wait a moment. Lin Hui turned back, his heart sinking. This teacher seems quite astute. Surely he hasn't discerned my mischief? Feeling a twinge of guilt, he inquired. Teacher, is there anything else? Sun Yuanshao looked at him earnestly and said, Lin Hui, having spent time in the ranks myself, I understand the nature of soldiers at the grassroots level. They possess a strong sense of honor and self-esteem. However, to earn the respect of others, one must possess formidable skills. Each student here will be assigned to a grassroots unit upon graduation, where the focus will be on leadership abilities. Coordination skills and specialized knowledge will seldom come into play. He stated earnestly. However, in school, our emphasis is on specialized knowledge. We prepare for battle even if we do not wish for war. We must always be ready. While these theoretical concepts may seem of little immediate use, when the time comes, they must be readily available. I understand. Lin Hui nodded in agreement. Here, we are dedicated to the study of culture and theoretical knowledge. While this knowledge may not always be necessary, it is imperative that we possess it. We are acutely aware of this. Sun Yuanshao smiled and remarked. A great leader once said that dignity must be earned through one's own efforts. This place, like the military, demands that to gain others' respect, one must excel in every aspect. Should you require assistance in the future, do not hesitate to seek me out. If you have questions, feel free to ask me. I am in the office when not in class. Lin Hui responded without hesitation. Thank you, teacher. He indeed had many areas of specialized knowledge that required clarification. Military science is a profoundly intricate discipline, encompassing a myriad of complexities. Achieving a comprehensive understanding is no small feat, especially considering the current disparity in strength between domestic forces and those of Western nations. How to bridge the gap and better resist external threats is also a lesson Lin Hui must learn. Moreover, should a situation akin to today arise again, Sun Yuanshao glanced out the window, lowered his voice, and quietly remarked, "You must retaliate with a powerful punch." Lin Hui chuckled. "Truly the head teacher. You possess such audacity." He nodded emphatically indeed. Sun Yuanshao praised, "Lin Hui, I recognize that you are different from the other newcomers. You are sent here as a deputy battalion for further advancement. The fact that the military has entrusted you to us indicates your immense potential, and you will undoubtedly be valued in the future. Therefore, I hope you will strive to improve yourself within this limited time frame and not squander this splendid opportunity. That is all I wish to convey. You may return now. And do not linger too late." "Understood." Lin Hui saluted, leaving with a warm feeling in his heart. No matter the time, there are those who consider his well-being. This is the allure of the military, so different from the deceitful society outside. This is one of the primary reasons he is fond of the military. In the ensuing days, Lin Hui and his companions dedicated themselves fervently to their studies, while simultaneously not neglecting their training. In the 5-kilometer run, they consistently led the pack, leaving their classmates far behind. In the 400-meter obstacle course, they claimed the top 5 positions. In all physical challenges, Lin Hui and his group consistently secured spots within the top 5. Consequently, they received special commendations from their instructors daily. Particularly, Lin Hui was singled out as a model for others to emulate. The phrase most frequently uttered by the training instructor was, "Look at them. Look at Lin Hui. Why can he succeed while you cannot? You possess the same arms and legs. You are all soldiers. How can you lag so far behind him? Even an elderly woman with a cane could outrun you." As everyone absorbed these words, a profound sense of frustration welled within them. The heartache was palpable, yet they could not voice their grievances. Lin Hui was simply remarkable. They felt like small monsters being relentlessly beaten by Ultraman, unable to mount any resistance. Thus, Lin Hui became their number one adversary. At dinner time, Lin Hui quickly finished his meal, stood up, and declared, "Let us head to the study room." The others promptly fell into line behind him, racing towards the study room. At this hour, a teacher was present, allowing them to ask questions whenever they encountered difficulties. Hence, every moment was precious. At the dining table, Feng Chao watched them leave, filled with discontent. Beside him, LV Gao scoffed, "What a pretense. They have violated discipline. Been late for so many days, and now they are suddenly in a hurry?" Li Shanghe shrugged. "In this month's examination, they are bound to drag us down. We have been studying for 3 years, while they have only just arrived a few days ago, learning only the most fundamental knowledge. Their cultural exam will surely yield 5 big zeros. With them hindering us, our class will not only fail to excel, but may even find itself at the bottom of the grade." Xiao Yuan leaned closer to Feng Chao, urging him, "Leader, you have always been the pride of our class, excelling in both academics and military training. Ever since they arrived, you've been berated from dawn till dusk, and we are all quite anxious for you." The others echoed in support, voicing their indignation. "Indeed, leader, these individuals are exceedingly arrogant, just because they possess physical prowess. Must they flaunt it so? If they are so capable, why not engage in plowing the fields? This group hails from a combat unit. It is only natural for them to possess some athletic capability, isn't it?" LV Gao interjected with displeasure. "What is most infuriating is that while we are training diligently, they have the audacity to pretend to instruct us, intentionally vexing us. It is utterly maddening." Feng Chao's lips twitched in annoyance. This afternoon, during the 400-meter obstacle run, after Lin Hui finished, he stood nearby, criticizing Feng Chao's form. One moment he remarked that Feng Chao's legs weren't straight enough. The next he claimed he was bending over too slowly, and then he criticized his pigeon-toed gait. This distraction caused Feng Chao to collide with a wooden board, resulting in a sizable bump on his head. In a fit of rage, Feng Chao slammed his chopsticks onto the table, nearly bursting with frustration. The others seized the opportunity to continue persuading him. "Leader, they are outsiders, and their interests do not align with ours. We may not mind. But look how glorious you once were. Now that glory belongs to that Lin Hui fellow. Just look at how the instructors treat us. They regard us as mere novices." LV Gao declared with righteous indignation, "I believe we must show them a thing or two. Otherwise, we will be forced to adhere to their standards, and we will have no peace." Feng Chao's eyes sparkled with a sudden idea. "It seems we must devise a way to drive them to another class." "What can we do?" Li Shanghe asked eagerly. "The homeroom teacher is currently on their side." LV Gao nodded in agreement. "Indeed, we must come up with a foolproof plan, or we will end up facing reprimands and writing self-reflections." Feng Chao smiled slightly. "Fear not, I already have a plan. What is it? They inquired. Aren't they keen to flaunt their military prowess? Fong Chao replied with a mischievous grin. Then let us outshine them in military matters. The other's eyes gleamed with excitement. Pray tell. How do we proceed? Chapter 221. Blinding their titanium alloy eyes. The following morning, after 2 cultural classes, everyone gathered at the training ground. The training instructor approached the front, glanced at his watch, and announced loudly, there are still 2 hours until mealtime. Our last training exercise for the morning is underwater infiltration. Lin Hui and his companions were momentarily taken aback. In their previous military experience, they had practiced armed swimming, but what on earth was underwater infiltration? They had never even heard of it. In the Southwest Theater, the focus was on training for jungle and mountainous warfare. In some units, being able to swim 800 meters in a year was already considered remarkable, as the vast majority of the army were landlubbers. Observing the astonished and puzzled expressions on Lin Hui and his companions, Fong Chao couldn't suppress a sly smile. This is going to be entertaining. The instructor clapped his hands and commanded, everyone, turn right and proceed southward at a run. The entire group quickly turned and dashed forward. Soon, they arrived at an artificial lake situated behind the school. Lin Hui realized that this must be training for diving and infiltration. With his hands clasped behind his back and an impassive expression, the instructor stated, as per the usual protocol, you will swim from one end to the other, a total distance of 2 kilometers. You may surface for air, but your head must not entirely break the water's surface. Should your head rise above the water, you will face a penalty of 200 push-ups. The more infractions, the greater the penalty. Do you understand? Yes. The group responded in unison. Just as the instructor was about to divide them into groups for training, Fong Chao suddenly interjected, report, instructor. What is it? The instructor inquired. Fong Chao replied earnestly, instructor. We haven't practiced this skill for half a year, and everyone is somewhat out of practice. Therefore, I request that Lin Hui and the others demonstrate first. Lin Hui raised an eyebrow. Upon noticing the mischievous grin on Fong Chao's lips and the eager expressions of the others waiting to witness the spectacle, he immediately comprehended the situation. They were up to mischief. Having been at the school for a while, he was aware that the training schedule was fixed each week. Lin Hui distinctly remembered that the morning sessions were supposed to focus on tactical maneuvers. How had they suddenly shifted to diving and infiltration? Initially puzzled, he now understood it was all the doing of this troublemaker. Fong Chao had been around long enough to establish his own little connections. Altering the training schedule was a trivial matter for him. Lin Hui smirked inwardly. I would not trouble you, yet you insist on crashing into the iron plate? Very well. I shall indulge your little game. The instructor glanced at Lin Hui and his companions, then at Fong Chao, his brow slightly furrowing. They are all new recruits. Although you haven't practiced in 6 months, you have trained on several occasions. Moreover, this is a mandatory subject for you. Do you have the audacity to let them demonstrate? Fong Chao replied with righteous indignation. Instructor, they are elite soldiers promoted from combat units, renowned for their prowess and strength. To suggest they cannot perform would be to belittle them. The others immediately chimed in, with Lu Gao chuckling. They are all elite soldiers. What can't they accomplish? Li Shanghe added with a beaming smile. Instructor, their physical abilities are exemplary. They serve as our role models, and now is the time for them to set an example. We hope to learn from them. Wang Yong and Chun Eru grinned widely, their faces radiating pride. What elite soldiers! Modesty, modesty! Such clumsy flattery might fool a couple of simpletons. Suda and Zhang Wei stood silently to the side, their eyes rolling skyward. Their reactions were slightly slower than Lin Hui's, yet they too recognized the mischief afoot. Observing this group, Lin Hui felt as though he were watching a monkey show. The ruse was well crafted, but the error lay in choosing the wrong target. The instructor turned to Lin Hui, seeking his input. Well then, are you up for it? Report, we are ready. Lin Hui spoke with unwavering confidence, asserting that the other students had come from various places. Although they wore military uniforms, in his eyes, they were merely marginally superior to civilian youths. As their elder brother, it was only fitting for them to impart wisdom to these younger individuals. The expressions of everyone present turned pale, their blood boiling with indignation. This fellow was like a pressure cooker, all talk with no substance. Fong Chao narrowed his eyes, thinking, still so arrogant? We shall see how you embarrass yourself soon. The instructor, amused by Lin Hui's bravado, chuckled and remarked, Lin Hui, this training has only recently been introduced by the school, and grassroots units have yet to implement it. Only the special forces are engaged in this training, and its difficulty is evident. You must consider this carefully, even if your results today fall short. I can choose not to penalize you. Lin Hui shook his head. Thank you for your kind intentions, instructor, but there is no need for further consideration. We are capable. As soldiers of Yin Nation, we forge paths through mountains and build bridges over rivers. There is nothing we cannot accomplish. Well said. The instructor praised, giving a thumbs up. Since you are so confident, you shall go first. Yes. Lin Hui beckoned, and the other four immediately gathered around him. The instructor looked at them and instructed. Remove your clothing. You must enter the water without your clothes. Observing the eager spectators across from him, Lin Hui's mind raced. And he quickly devised a plan. Since we are to engage in play, let us intensify the challenge. Report. What is it? Why must we remove our clothing? The instructor was taken aback. No one had ever posed such a seemingly trivial question, and he momentarily struggled to formulate a response. Removing clothing is to prevent illness from wet garments post-swimming. Is that explanation satisfactory? Lin Hui replied earnestly, Instructor, in a wartime scenario, how could we possibly have time to remove our clothing? Our training is to prepare for battle, so everything must align with reality. Suppose we are indeed in combat. Not only should we not remove our clothing, but we must also carry loads. Therefore, I request a weight of 20 kilograms. The instructor nearly choked on his astonishment. You are trying to educate me now? The others felt as though they might collectively collapse. His arrogance was simply overwhelming. Completing the task as per the requirements was already a significant challenge. Yet now he demanded to be fully clothed and carry an additional 20 kilograms to simulate a combat scenario. That was tantamount to courting disaster. The instructor pointed at Lin Hui, flabbergasted. You must think this through. This is not a jest. Lin Hui, with utmost seriousness, responded, in grassroots units. Our superiors teach us that the foundation of all training is to prepare for real combat. If the enemy is upon us, how can we waste time removing our clothes to cross a river? We have trained for countless days to be ready for a single moment of action. The instructor, visibly perturbed, raised his hand to interrupt. All right, enough with the grandiloquent principles. We shall proceed as you suggested. He turned to the others, sternly stating, you all must follow suit. Whatever he does, you shall do as well. Understood? No one is to remove their clothing, and each must carry a load of 20 kilograms. The group was suddenly filled with a sense of dread. They were, in truth, not well versed in this training. Now, we must don our clothing and bear a weight of 20 kilograms. Who can endure such a burden? Lu Gao murmured in discontent. What kind of situation is this? Li Shanghe sighed. Do you think we have inadvertently made matters worse, like bringing stones to crush our own feet? 20 kilograms. We might as well perish in the lake. Fang Chao shot them a glare. Enough of your complaints. I inquired about these fellows. They are all landlubbers, never having trained in the water. If they dare to attempt this, what do we have to fear? Moreover, these individuals, oblivious to their limitations, want to add more weight. If they mishandle their dive, they could very well sink. If danger arises, the training may be cancelled, and we might just evade a calamity, right? Indeed. The group's faces lit up with delight, each one eagerly anticipating the spectacle. Fang Chao fixed his gaze on Lin Hui, stating angrily, if you embarrass yourselves later, let us see if you'll still dare to critique us militarily. Lin Hui observed their smug smiles and turned to Wang Yong and others, inquiring if there were any issues. None. Wang Yong chuckled. Isn't it just diving? Chun Era chimed in. Having followed you before, we've tackled far more bizarre challenges. This is a piece of cake. Lin Hui rolled his eyes. Why did that sound less like praise? He smiled slightly. Since there are no issues, let us prepare. Each of us shall carry 20 kilograms of gear. Soon, we shall dazzle them with our prowess. The others grinned mischievously. No problem. Chapter 222. Quickly, save him. Lin Hui is drowning. Let us go. Lin Hui waved his hand, leading the well-equipped group toward the lakeside. The instructor cautioned them. You must truly consider this. This training is not as simple as it appears, especially with the added burden of 20 kilograms. If you regret it now, it's not too late. Lin Hui chuckled confidently. Fear not. This trial will not defeat us. He glanced at the eager onlookers and said with a smile, as long as we can serve as a role model for these juniors, enduring a bit of hardship is nothing. Fang Chao and the others were seething with frustration. It was truly a case of a stubborn duck. Let us see if you can make it back, they thought. Into the water. Lin Hui urged as he and four others stepped toward the artificial lake. Soon, they were submerged, the water enveloping them completely. Above the surface, only ripples remained, creating a gentle undulation. The students on the shore immediately donned triumphant smiles. The show is about to begin. 2 kilometers is quite a stretch for a group of landlubbers. For ordinary troops, swimming training is a rare occurrence, often limited to just a few hundred meters even when they do go into the water. Only legitimate reconnaissance soldiers undergo armed swimming training. However, there is no comparison to diving infiltration training. The latter serves as the ultimate test of lung capacity, willpower, and physical endurance. The difficulty is greater, and the risks are significantly heightened. Mishandle it, and one might meet a tragic end in the Northwest. This is precisely why such training is only promoted on a limited scale within military academies and special forces, rather than being widely disseminated among grassroots troops. Lu Gao gazed at the water, his face filled with derision. A bunch of landlubbers. Soon, We shall see you embarrass yourselves. Li Shanghe smugly added. To attempt weighted immersion without any training? How audacious. Having encountered pretentiousness before, I have never witnessed such an ostentatious display. It is a reckless flirtation with disaster. Xiao Dong glanced at the class monitor and remarked, before long, they will all be crying for help. Monitor, when they can no longer endure. You must lead the charge to save them. Feng Chao wore a slight smile, his mind already concocting a plan. This opportunity would not only serve to educate Lin Hui and his companions about the vastness of the heavens and the depths of the earth, but it would also allow him to reclaim the prestige and status that belonged to him as the class leader of the 10th class. In a critical moment, his willingness to selflessly plunge into the water to rescue others would exemplify immense altruism and self-sacrifice. Naturally, as comrades, he could not merely stand by and watch Lin Hui come to harm. A timely lesson would suffice. However, his paramount objective remained to have them leave the 10th class, ensuring they would no longer hinder their progress. The instructor stood at the water's edge, hands clasped behind his back, gazing intently at the lake's surface with eager anticipation. Let me witness the true prowess of you soldiers from the grassroots level. Do not disappoint me. The artificial lake, at its deepest point, measured no more than 3.5 meters. Beneath the surface, a series of figures slowly advanced. Lin Hui led the way, with others grasping the backpacks of those in front, resembling a string of candied hawthorns, tightly clustered together. The lakebed was a quagmire of mud and aquatic vegetation. Each step Lin Hui took felt akin to uprooting a stubborn turnip, fraught with effort. Moreover, the water posed additional resistance. Maintaining balance and stability underwater was no simple feat, demanding immense physical exertion and testing one's lung capacity. Alert, stamina increased by 1. Alert, lung capacity increased by 1. Alert, breath-holding ability increased by 1. The series of prompts resonated in Lin Hui's mind, alleviating the pressure on his nearly bursting lungs. His entire being felt as though it were enveloped in a warm bath, and a surge of strength coursed through him. At that moment, he sensed a deceleration in the pace of the individuals behind him. Turning around, he was nearly startled. Wang Yong and Chen Eru had rolled their eyes back, resembling water spirits come to claim their due. Goodness, have they really reached their limit after barely traversing 100 meters? An idea sparked in Lin Hui's mind, and he quickly devised a plan to assist them. He reached out and grasped Wang Yong and Chen Eru's legs, twisting forcefully. Oh no! The pain contorted their features, their mouths forming an O-shape. In that instant, as their mouths gaped open, a mouthful of water rushed in, choking them. A violent sense of asphyxiation engulfed them, and their instinct for survival compelled them to lift their heads and swim desperately towards the surface. Just as their heads were about to breach the water, Lin Hui seized their ankles and forcefully redirected them, causing their bodies to pivot beneath the surface. Their mouths and noses barely broke through the water. Without a moment's hesitation, they inhaled deeply, feeling a renewed sense of life. However, before they could steady their breaths, a powerful force yanked them back down into the depths. Glub, glub. Caught off guard, they once more swallowed a mouthful of water. Resigned to their fate, they sank back to the lakebed, lamenting, "You wretched fiend. Could you not allow us a moment to catch our breath?" Lin Hui chuckled softly, indicating that no thanks were necessary. At that moment, Zhang Wei and Suda, who had also reached their limits, appeared as if they were in dire straits, their faces turning a deep shade of purple, resembling individuals suffering from constipation. Just as Lin Hui was preparing to employ the same tactic again, they hurriedly retreated, frantically waving their hands, exclaiming, "No help needed. We still have lineage to consider." Subsequently, they crouched slightly, exerted force, and propelled themselves towards the lake's surface like springs. As their heads approached the water's surface, they swiftly adjusted their positions, ensuring only their mouths and noses remained above water. However, returning to safety proved to be a challenge, as swimming was not their forte. They were, after all, landlubbers. At that moment, Lin Hui seized their ankles without affording them any time to react, yanking them down with considerable force, akin to uprooting a scallion. Suda found his mouth and nose forcibly filled with water, leaving him gasping for breath, utterly despondent. Yet, submerged beneath the surface, he dared not open his mouth, opting instead to hold his breath. He glared fiercely at Lin Hui, thinking to himself, "You brute, too savage, too violent." Meanwhile, a group of them exchanged glances underwater, their lungs strained to the point of bursting, their tempers flaring. Lin Hui shrugged and gestured for them to hurry along, warning, "If you don't move, I might use this tactic again, so you best decide for yourselves." The four exchanged glances, filled with resignation. Dealing with such a character was truly taxing. They had no choice but to hasten their pace, fearing that Lin Hui would resort to further antics, turning this training into a perilous ordeal. As time ticked by, Lu Gao observed the placid surface of the lake, his brow slightly furrowed. It's been 5 minutes. How can these fellows have such extraordinary lung capacity without needing to surface? Fong Chao scoffed, retorting, they're undoubtedly just holding on. Anyone trained can manage 5 minutes of breath holding. Just watch, they'll falter soon enough. Others nodded in agreement. Typically, an average person can hold their breath for about a minute, while those with greater lung capacity may reach 2 minutes. However, for those in combat units like Lin Hui's, achieving 4 to 5 minutes through rigorous training is entirely plausible, as enhanced physical fitness directly correlates with increased lung capacity. 3 more minutes passed, yet the lake remained eerily still. Lu Gao, now anxious, inquired, Squad leader, it's been 8 minutes. Why is there still no sign? Could something have gone awry? Fong Chao, attempting to maintain his composure, responded nervously, don't worry, they're not foolish. If they were truly in trouble, they would surely surface to signal for help. To his astonishment, he acknowledged their extraordinary lung capacity. Others, drenched in cold sweat, pondered the possibility. Could anyone truly withstand 8 minutes without consequences? As another 2 minutes elapsed, restlessness spread among the group, a palpable anxiety enveloping them. 10 minutes had passed without a single head breaking the surface. Surely they haven't drowned, they thought. These individuals were tenacious. If anything happened, it would be on them for pushing them too far. No, it would be the squad leader who was primarily responsible. He was the mastermind, and they were merely accomplices. Fong Chao nearly leapt from his spot, yet found himself speechless, for he was indeed the one who had initiated the challenge. If a crisis truly ensued, he would be the first to face the consequences. The instructor could no longer contain himself, his forehead glistening with sweat as he bellowed. What on earth are you all doing? Hurry, save them. They must be in trouble. Chapter 223. We are all unskilled swimmers. This is truly our first time rescuing someone. Quick, go rescue them. The instructor shouted anxiously. You few, go find a boat. Even a kayak will do. The rest of you search along the riverbank. They might have been washed ashore. Hurry, hurry, be swift. The crowd split into several groups. Someone in search of boats, while others scoured the banks of the artificial lake. However, the terrain on both sides was steep and slippery, making it nearly impossible to traverse. Many stumbled and fell, becoming muddy messes. In that moment, everyone was like ants on a hot skillet, in a state of chaotic urgency. Fong Chao searched frantically along the bank, drenched in sweat, thinking, please don't let anything happen to you. I only intended to give you a little scare, not to truly harm you. Lu Gao was also fervently praying, please. I beg you, don't frighten me. If anything happens to you, we won't survive either. Though Lin Hui had subjected them to great hardships in recent days, causing the instructor to scold them mercilessly, their actions stemmed from sheer defiance, not genuine malice. Moreover, having spent some time together, they had witnessed Lin Hui and the others' extraordinary efforts, earning a modicum of respect in their hearts. They merely feared that their inferior academic standing would hinder their collective honor during the upcoming monthly exam, which motivated their desperate attempts to remove Lin Hui and his companions. If any misfortune were to befall them, they would not only bear the burden of responsibility, but also suffer from a lifetime of guilt. Lin Hui, where are you? Come out, don't scare us. Just as the tension peaked and everyone called out in anxiety, Lin Hui suddenly emerged from the water with a splash, bringing the others up with him like a string of gourds. Once ashore, they gasped for air as though they were experiencing their first breath of life. Goodness, have we arrived? I thought I would suffocate. This is the first time I've held my breath for so long. Lin Hui stepped onto the shore and turned to them, saying, hurry up, don't dawdle. Do you want to stay in the water? Wang Yong and the others crawled up slowly like turtles, collapsing onto the ground with their backs to the earth, sputtering water from their mouths. Seeing their bulging bellies, as if they were several months pregnant, Lin Hui couldn't help but chuckle. It seems you all drank quite a bit of water. He raised his hand to check the time. Amazingly, they had traversed 2 kilometers underwater in only 20 minutes. For others, a light descent would typically take around 30 minutes. Yet, in their weighted state, they had managed to be 10 minutes faster. With a beaming smile, Lin Hui exclaimed, congratulations, you've broken the record. The group lay on the ground, faces devoid of hope. Their stomachs ached with discomfort, as they had never consumed so much water in their lives. Lin Hui, surprised, asked, why the long faces? Aren't you happy? Wang Yong's features contorted in discomfort, exclaiming, just look at our bellies. It's evident how much water we've consumed. I should have anticipated your peculiarities, yet I never expected you to be this extreme. My Kuan is nearly twisted beyond recognition. Chun Eru, feeling aggrieved, chimed in. Me too. I must be swollen as well. Lin Hui chuckled. Let us not dwell on these trivialities. It's all for the sake of victory. However, I possess a method to alleviate your discomfort. The others turned their gazes toward him, curious. What method? Lin Hui approached Wang Yong, a mischievous glint in his eye, and, to Wang Yong's astonishment, he lifted his foot and pressed it onto Wang Yong's abdomen. With a series of splashes, Wang Yong transformed into a human fountain, spraying water everywhere. Lin Hui looked down at him, grinning, and asked, "How do you feel now? One more time should do the trick." Wang Yong, his face flushed, coughed up water, retorting, "Get lost. If you press down again, you'll surely crush me. Step back. I don't need your assistance." Lin Hui turned to the others, inquiring enthusiastically, "Does anyone else require my help? Don't be shy." All present shook their heads vigorously, a palpable desire for self-preservation evident in their expressions. Drowning was one thing, but being trampled by him was another. At that moment, a commotion arose from afar. Lin Hui turned in surprise to see several boats on the lake's surface. "Look over there," he pointed. The others immediately sat up, casting doubtful glances in that direction. "What are they doing? We agreed to swim. Why are they using boats? Isn't that cheating? Could it be that we swam all the way here unnoticed, and they assumed we had drowned?" "That is a possibility," Lin Hui replied, settling back down with a smile. "Let them be. They can pursue their own endeavors while we take our rest." The others nodded in agreement, resuming their positions to rest. Indeed, underwater training was exhausting. Meanwhile, on the opposite shore, Fang Chao cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted, "Lin Hui, come back. You all hurry back." The instructor kicked him lightly, exasperated. "What are you doing, summoning spirits?" Fang Chao, feeling embarrassed, replied, "I just want to find them quickly." The instructor retorted, "After searching for so long, not even a bubble has surfaced. Do you think they've sunk to the bottom of the lake? Should we fetch diving gear to recover them? Stop the chatter. Hurry up and search." The instructor snapped, "Even if something has happened, they should have surfaced by now." Everyone hastened their search, but the more they failed to find, the more anxious they became. Li Shanghe was on the verge of tears, lamenting, "It's all our fault. We shouldn't have treated them that way. We owe them an apology. Lin Hui, during future holidays, I will surely burn more spirit money and candles for you. If necessary, I will send the class monitor down to keep you company." It was his terrible idea. Just then, someone joyfully shouted, "They're over there. On the opposite shore?" Everyone jolted, hope rekindled as they turned their heads. On the far bank, Lin Hui and the others were cheerfully waving, looking as if nothing had occurred. "Hey, how are you all?" A collective gasp escaped the group, nearly causing them to choke. They had searched for so long, and the others had already crossed to the opposite shore? Fang Chao stared in disbelief, his eyes wide. How did they manage that? They never showed their heads. When did they get over there? When it comes to their turn, they would inevitably reveal a portion of their heads while gasping for air. Yet these individuals left no trace behind. How did they manage to pass through undetected? Were their oxygen tanks concealed beneath the water? "Let us hurry over," the instructor shouted, prompting everyone to rush towards the opposite bank. Upon their arrival, they discovered Lin Hui and his companions, who, aside from appearing slightly fatigued, were entirely unscathed. The instructor gazed at them in astonishment. "When did you reach the shore?" Lin Hui saluted and replied, "Report, instructor. We successfully completed the task in 20 minutes and 35 seconds, which was 10 minutes ago." A collective gasp echoed among them. Completing the task under load in merely 20 minutes? That was 10 minutes faster than their unburdened pace. They even speculated whether Lin Hui's group had quietly slipped to the sides and ascended the high ground before crossing over. However, they quickly dismissed this notion. The heights were too steep and slick with mud to climb. Holding one's breath for 20 minutes. What kind of lung capacity was that? Were they hippos? Noticing their silence, Lin Hui chuckled. "What's the matter? Did we exceed the time limit? Or did we perform incorrectly? If there are any issues, please point them out. We will humbly accept criticism." Fang Chao and the others flushed with embarrassment, wishing they could find a hole to hide in. The instructor, incredulous, looked at him and asked, "Did you receive training in your previous unit?" Lin Hui shook his head. "No, we are all novices, having never set foot in the water." "Did we perform incorrectly? Perhaps the esteemed classmates could demonstrate the proper training methods for us. I would like to learn, and it would suffice to outperform us by a slight margin." The group nearly fell to their knees. Demonstrate? If they were to attempt underwater maneuvers while carrying weight, half of them would likely perish. Chapter 224. These fellows are playing possum. At midday, a series of drenched figures awkwardly crawled ashore. Some lay motionless on the ground, while others collapsed and began to sputter. "Quick, save them. Hurry, perform CPR." Witnessing their frantic attempts to assist, Lin Hui, being the warm-hearted individual he was, could not bear to see his comrades suffer. He swiftly rallied everyone to aid in the rescue. "Suda, help them remove their backpacks. Zhang Wei, turn those guys over and stomp on their stomachs." "Yes. Just like I did earlier." The remaining two were instructed to slap them awake. If 2 slaps aren't enough, do 5. If that's still insufficient, be a bit harsher. Let us wake them up as swiftly as possible. "Understood." The group laughed mischievously as they extended their hands towards the unfortunate classmates. The sounds of slapping echoed as the unconscious students were both pinched and slapped. A few who had already begun to regain consciousness were met with another slap. sending them back into oblivion. The instructor, unable to watch any longer, shook his head and sighed. He leaned towards Feng Chao and muttered, "Is this what you call a good suggestion? It is utterly embarrassing. How could one possess such a mindset, comparing oneself to a combat unit in military matters? Isn't this simply inviting humiliation?" Feng Chao felt his face flush with shame, wishing he could find a crack in the ground to disappear into. Originally, he had painstakingly sought the instructor's assistance to change the curriculum, solely to vex Lin Hui and his companions. Yet, instead of them being unsettled, he found himself thoroughly humiliated. Weighted down by 20 kilograms of gear, they struggled through the water, gasping and choking with every stroke. Each one was on the verge of exhaustion. In stark contrast, Lin Hui and his group appeared vigorous and unfazed, as if nothing were amiss. The instructor shot him a glare, clapped his hands, and bellowed, "Anyone who can breathe, stand up. Do not lie on the ground pretending to be dead. You've merely swallowed a bit of water. It won't kill you. Soon." The others began to rise from the ground, many sporting 5 distinct lines across their faces, stinging with pain. It was evident that they bore the marks of Wang Yong and his crew's handiwork. The instructor sternly announced, "Following the recent training, none of you have passed. Now, aside from Lin Hui and his 5 companions, the rest of you will perform 2,000 push-ups. You shall eat only when you have completed them." LV Gao was on the verge of tears, lamenting, "Instructor, we haven't trained in quite some time, and we're carrying such heavy loads." The instructor coldly interrupted, "Is this not what you just demanded of others? They are newcomers, who have never trained before yet managed to excel. How can you justify your failure?" Li Shanghe, with a stubborn demeanor, protested, "They are from a combat unit. It is only natural they are stronger than us. Stop making excuses. It's 2,500. The instructor rebuked without hesitation. Li Shanghe wished to argue further, but Feng Chao quickly covered his mouth, warning, "Stop talking. If you continue, it will be 3,000. Li Shanghe was filled with frustration, lamenting the absurdity of the situation. All of them reluctantly dispersed, collapsing onto the ground to commence their push-ups. Their gazes filled with simmering anger as they glanced at Lin Hui and his companions, who were resting in the shade of a tree. They finally grasped the truth. These individuals had been cunningly feigning incompetence from the very beginning, fully aware of their capabilities, only to set them up for a significant fall. Observing the fury etched on everyone's faces, Lin Hui wore a smug expression. "You thought you could flaunt your bravado, but now you see who truly holds the upper hand." Lin Hui and his companions had just enjoyed a hearty meal and were emerging from the cafeteria as Feng Chao and his group, weary and disheveled, made their way back. Chun Era chuckled. "Oh, look who finally decided to show up. The food is almost gone." Wang Yong teased, "No worries, just learn from us veterans. Once you do, you'll enjoy a comfortable life." Everyone was already drained, and now their tempers flared. Feng Chao glared at them in frustration. "Don't get too cocky. Even if you excel militarily, it matters little. At Lu University, military training is merely a part of the curriculum. Academic courses hold far greater significance. With the monthly exams approaching, should you bring shame upon our class, we will not hesitate to petition the principal for your reassignment." Lin Hui offered a faint smile and said, "I'm afraid you shall never have this opportunity in your lifetime." With that, he and his companions departed with laughter. As they watched Lin Hui and his group fade into the distance, everyone was seething with anger. How arrogant. They were newcomers, yet they showed no regard for us. The seniors, just wait. There will come a day when we shall make you pay for this. Lu Gao turned to the class monitor and inquired, "Shall we take further action against them?" Feng Chao, feeling a sudden tightness of anxiety, retorted, "Are you out of your mind? Can't you see the state we're in? If we provoke them further, we'll be the ones who suffer first. Then shall we just let it go? Impossible. Once the midterm exam results are out, if they fail, we will have a reason to have them removed. At that point, even the class teacher will have nothing to say." The others nodded in silence. Lin Hui and his group were indeed troublesome. After several confrontations, they had come off worse each time. It seemed they would have to bide their time until after the midterms. In the afternoon, everyone donned shoe covers and headed to the multimedia classroom for computer lessons. The military is now focused on cultivating information technology talents. Every commander must prepare for the complete integration of information technology within the forces. Although Lin Hui had a systematic approach to learning and enhancing his abilities, there were still aspects he found difficult to comprehend. As a transfer student, he joined the class halfway through the course. He was unaware of what had been covered previously, and the subsequent content had yet to be introduced. Essentially, he found himself stuck in the middle, unable to progress or regress. And it was impossible to integrate the knowledge he had learned. Lin Hui glanced around, observing that everyone else was diligently taking notes and listening intently. He furrowed his brow slightly, realizing that he needed to find a way to catch up on the knowledge he had missed. Otherwise, he would remain in limbo, unable to connect the dots between the material he had learned. In the evening, after finishing dinner, Lin Hui prepared to seek out the class teacher to borrow the previous study materials. Upon entering the office building, he was approached by Sun Yuanchao. "Good day, teacher." Lin Hui greeted respectfully. Sun Yuanchao smiled at him, saying, "Lin Hui, I have heard about what happened during the day. Your military skills are indeed impressive. You managed to complete the training under heavy load with such excellence. The soldiers at the grassroots level are truly resilient. If you have the time, please assist your classmates in enhancing their foundational skills so that everyone progresses together." Lin Hui nodded. "No problem. As long as they are willing, I can teach them." Sun Yuanchao smiled and nodded. "By the way, the vice principal has requested your presence in his office." Lin Hui was momentarily taken aback. "He is looking for me? I haven't done anything wrong lately." "Teacher, what does the vice principal want with me?" Sun Yuanchao urged. "You'll find out when you get there. Hurry along." Lin Hui acknowledged with a quick "oh" and dashed towards the vice principal's office. Upon arriving at the door, he gently knocked. "Come in." Lin Hui pushed the door open and was about to announce his arrival when he was suddenly taken aback. He saw Zhang Lanying and Zhang Pengfei standing up from the sofa, beaming at him. "Little Hui, you're here." Lin Hui's eyes widened in astonishment. "Mom, uncle, what brings you here so unexpectedly?" Chapter 225. Son, if you were ever kidnapped, just blink. Lin Hui found himself utterly bewildered. Why had his mother suddenly come here? He recalled that before he enlisted, she had vehemently opposed his decision, causing quite a scene at home. Yet, ultimately, she succumbed to Lin Guangyao's overwhelming authority and reluctantly conceded. Nevertheless, she had secured for Lin Hui the right to be honorably discharged after 2 years, granting him the freedom to pursue his desires without interference from anyone. It had been 3 months since their last phone conversation, and now his mother and uncle's unexpected appearance filled him with unease. Zhang Lanying shot him a glance and said, "What? Is it not permissible for a mother to miss her son and come to see him?" Zhang Pengfei added with a hint of reproach, "You little rascal. You never bothered to call, making it seem as though you vanished. You may disregard your uncle, but is it too much to ask for a little concern from your mother?" Feeling a bit awkward, Lin Hui struggled to find the right words. Just then, Vice Principal Chen Qing stood up, cleared his throat, and said, "Well, you all carry on. I shall step out for a moment." After uttering this, he made his way outside. As he passed Lin Hui, their eyes met for a fleeting moment. Lin Hui was taken aback by the complexity of Chen Qing's gaze, which bore a mix of anticipation, anxiety, and even a trace of reluctance. This stirred an unsettling premonition within him. Once Chen Qing had left, Zhang Lanying and Zhang Pengfei eagerly gestured for Lin Hui to sit down. With a face full of maternal affection, Zhang Lanying exclaimed, "Come, my dear Hui. Come sit beside your mother. Oh dear, my precious son, you have lost so much weight, and your skin appears dark and rough. You must have endured considerable hardship while here. When we return, I shall certainly have a word with your father. What was he thinking, sending you off to the army? Truly, it seems he is always looking for trouble." Lin Hui felt a warm sensation in his heart. "Mother, it's nothing. I'm doing quite well," he reassured her. Zhang Pengfei picked up a cup and poured Lin Hui some tea, making him feel at home. "Come now, Hui, have a drink. Be careful, it's hot." Yet, Lin Hui sensed something was amiss today. They seemed entirely different from his memories of them. "Mother, uncle, your sudden visit. Surely, there is something you wish to discuss?" he inquired. Zhang Pengfei retorted, "What do you mean by that? Are we not allowed to come see you if there is nothing pressing?" Zhang Lanying chimed in, "Oh, our child has grown up, has developed strong wings, and now he no longer wishes for his mother. Does he?" Lin Hui felt a wave of frustration. Why did they treat him like a child? He forced a smile. How could that be? "Mother, in my eyes, you will always be my guiding light. The most wonderful and beautiful mother in the world. And uncle too, from a young age, you have been my idol, a paragon of virtue. However, I know that if you didn't have something important to discuss, you wouldn't have come all this way, would you?" The two exchanged glances, remaining silent for a full 30 seconds, neither willing to break the stillness. Lin Hui, adopting a slightly serious tone, remarked, "If you don't speak up, I shall take my leave. I have studying to attend to this evening." Zhang Pengfei and Zhang Lanying exchanged uncertain looks, unsure of how to begin their conversation. Ultimately, it was Zhang Pengfei who first broke the silence, addressing his sister. "Sister, now that we are here, what is there to conceal? After all, we have come for this very matter. There is no need for embarrassment." Zhang Lanying nodded, her determination evident as she turned to Lin Hui. "Xiao Hui, we have come to take you away." Their uncle quickly chimed in. "Yes, we are here to rescue you from your plight." Lin Hui, bewildered, responded, "Rescue me? From what plight?" Zhang Lanying grasped his hand, speaking with kindness. "When your father intended to send you to the military, I vehemently opposed it. In the end, he agreed to let you serve for 2 years before returning home. Only then did I relent. Now the time has come, and he still wishes to keep you in the army. It's simply outrageous," she continued, exasperated. I knew back then that he had ulterior motives. He deceived me. But fret not, dear son. I have devised a plan and enlisted the help of your uncles. We will surely manage to bring you back. Before she could finish, Lin Hui abruptly stood up, eyes wide with shock. Who told you to seek assistance? When did I ever say I wanted to leave? The two were momentarily stunned. And Jiang Lanian queried, her brow furrowed. Son, what are you babbling about? Were you not the one who most resisted joining the military? Eagerly awaiting your return after 2 years? Jiang Pengfei quickly interjected. Xiao Hui, have you been threatened? Is there a listening device here? He lowered his voice, insisting, if you are in danger, just blink twice. We will go to any lengths to rescue you. Lin Hui was both amused and exasperated. It was no wonder they reacted this way. His past demeanor had been excessively carefree, reminiscent of a wayward young master, which had left them with such an impression. He resumed his seat, speaking earnestly. Mom, Uncle, could you please allow me to explain? The two remained silent, their expressions tense, as if preparing for battle. Lin Hui took a deep breath and addressed them. In the past, due to my father's influence, I held a strong aversion to the military, even despising the mere mention of soldiers. Consequently, I rebelled, often opposing my father. At that time, my sole focus was on pleasure and leisure, with little regard for anything else. I was unhappy with you for bringing me to the army. My only thoughts were of returning home as quickly as possible, dreaming of escaping this dreadful place. However, I later found that this environment influenced and transformed me. The two listened intently, their eyes reflecting their curiosity. Lin Hui continued, Here, I encountered numerous experiences and met many individuals. They taught me that life is fleeting and one must not squander it, nor allow the days to slip by unnoticed. A smile graced his lips. From them, I learned invaluable lessons about the meaning of service, the principles of life, and I discovered what I truly desire within my heart. In unison, they asked, Isn't what you desire a luxury sports car and traveling the world? Lin Hui shook his head. That is a thing of the past. While material pleasures are delightful, they provide only ephemeral joy. After the fleeting happiness fades, one is left with an endless void. Thus, I was once labeled a debauched scion, having engaged in numerous absurdities. Yet amidst this chaos, I discovered treasures far more precious than material wealth. I found my dearest comrades in the military and a faith worth pursuing. He gazed earnestly at the two before him and declared, Mother, Uncle, I have no desire to leave this place, nor shall I. You may return home. I am thriving here and am genuinely happy. There is no need for your concern. The pair stood in stunned silence for a moment, exchanging glances before suddenly leaping to their feet, frantically rummaging through the office. Lin Hui was left dumbfounded, exclaiming, Mother, Uncle, what are you doing? Jiang Pengfei shouted in a frenzy. There must be a listening device here. My brother-in-law is undoubtedly eavesdropping on Lin Hui's words, scheming behind the scenes. Jiang Lanian, while wildly searching, berated the heir. Lin Guangyao, you scoundrel. You've stooped so low as to surveil your own son. Show yourself, or I shall not let this rest. Lin Hui's mouth twitched in disbelief. He was utterly speechless at the sheer absurdity of the sibling duo's thought processes. Chapter 226. Lin mother in tears. Her son has grown up. The two ransacked the office, turning it into a chaotic mess. Lin Hui could no longer bear the sight and helplessly interjected, Mother, Uncle, this is someone else's office. What are you searching for? There is no listening device here. Jiang Lanian turned back, her expression resolute. What do you know? That Chen fellow was once your father's subordinate. Now he parades around as the vice principal, looking all impressive. But in truth, he is a traitor. I confronted him previously. I cannot explain it to you, but he is no good. At that moment, Chen Qing, who had been eavesdropping at the door, felt a wave of nausea rise in his throat, nearly spewing blood from the shock. Sister-in-law, my heart is as pure as the sun and moon. How could you consider me such a person? Just then, a teacher, intrigued by Chen Qing's peculiar posture, approached him with a puzzled expression. What's wrong, leader? Chen Qing glared at him. None of your business. Go teach your class. Yes, the teacher replied sheepishly, retreating while muttering, what has the vice principal been through? Eavesdropping outside his own office. There must be something amiss. Enough, Lin Hui exclaimed. The two paused, taken aback, and ceased their search. Taking a deep breath, Lin Hui stated, I am not being eavesdropped upon, nor am I under threat. I admit, when my father sent me to the military, I was quite displeased and longed to escape. Jiang Pengfei, eager to assist, responded, Isn't that perfect? We're here to help you. Come with us. Lin Hui shook his head. However, I have just clarified that the military has transformed me. After all I have experienced and the multitude of people I have met, I have grown fond of this place and sincerely wish to remain in the military. When my father inquired if I wished to return home, it was I who actively declined his offer. To be honest, during my time here, you are the first ones who have genuinely considered my well-being and sought to assist me, for which I am wholeheartedly grateful. He let out a bittersweet smile, expressing his regret. However, you have arrived a bit too late. If it had been over a year ago, I would have unhesitatingly shed my military uniform and returned with you. But now, this attire has become a part of me. This place feels like my second home, from which I cannot bear to part. Outside, Chen Qing punched the air in excitement, unable to contain himself. Well done. Truly well done. I knew I did not misjudge you. Behind him stood two instructors, staring in disbelief. What was the vice principal thinking? Chen Qing turned around and shot them a glare. Exasperated. What are you staring at? Haven't you ever seen a handsome vice principal before? Scram. You're not even close to being handsome. The two of them, shivering with dread, quickly fled from sight. Once the crowd had dispersed, he glanced around cautiously. After confirming that no one was around, he carefully crouched down and pressed his ear against the door to continue eavesdropping. Upon hearing Lin Hui's words, Jiang Pingfei stood frozen in place. Jiang Laniying's tears streamed down her face as she asked in confusion, Xiao Hui, what is so good about being a soldier? Your mother has already paved the way for you. Don't you like finance? I can hand over the entire group to you. If you don't fancy it, I can help you establish a new company. Whatever you desire, your mother can grant you. Why must you insist on staying here? Jiang Pingfei also urged him. Don't you love sports cars? If you are willing to retire, you can choose any model you wish, whether it be a Bugatti, Ferrari, or Lamborghini. Whatever catches your eye, I will procure it for you. What is the appeal of remaining in the military? Daily struggles with a rifle, exposed to the elements, earning no money while merely gathering dust and dirt. Do you genuinely wish to live like your father, your older brother, and your second brother? Spending a year away from home, enduring a life that is as dull and monotonous as imprisonment? Lin Hui smiled faintly. Some experiences, you will never understand unless you have lived them. Just like before, I did not comprehend the military or the essence of being a soldier, thinking that serving was no different from imprisonment, all hardship and suffering. However, I now realize that this place possesses a unique brilliance. The military is an incredibly captivating realm. Those who love it do so with fervor until death, and I happen to be one of those individuals. He looked at Jiang Pingfei. Uncle, please take my mother back. If you truly respect me and wish for my happiness, allow me to remain here. I cherish this life and have found meaning in my struggle and dedication. Perhaps the conditions you propose are enticing, but they do not suit me, for I am, at this moment, a soldier. Jiang Laniying burst into tears, crouching on the ground. She sobbed uncontrollably. Jiang Pingfei punched Lin Hui's chest. You rascal. Are you trying to get yourself killed? You've made your mother cry. Lin Hui felt a pang of guilt in his heart. A soldier is destined to sacrifice personal comforts for the greater good, and this is an inescapable truth. To remain in the military he loves, for his comrades, and to cultivate the red faith within him, striving to surpass his father and attain the rank of general. He had no choice but to make this decision. Jiang Pingfei approached to help Jiang Laniying to her feet, offering comfort. All right, sister. The child has grown up, and it is natural for him to have his own thoughts. There are numerous paths to take. As long as he follows his heart and pursues what he desires, we should not interfere. Xiao Hui is a considerate child. He is aware of his actions and knows what he desires, which is indeed commendable. Jiang Laniying wept for an extended period, and when she finally rose, her eyes were swollen from tears. She wiped her eyes and gazed at Lin Hui, saying, I can agree to your staying here. I respect your choice. But I also have a request. Lin Hui felt a surge of joy in his heart. What is your request? Jiang Laniying replied through her sobs. You must promise to visit me frequently. Do not be like your two elder brothers who are rarely home, and especially do not emulate your father, who is nothing but a scoundrel. Lin Hui smiled gently. All right, I promise you that I will make it a point to visit you whenever I have a holiday. Jiang Laniying nodded, though her face still betrayed her sadness and loneliness. She had originally hoped Lin Hui would return with her to inherit the family business. But now, with him joining the military, she found herself all alone at home. Jiang Pingfei suddenly dashed forward and delivered a punch, causing Lin Hui to involuntarily exclaim in surprise. You little rascal, since you've chosen to stay, then be a soldier properly and do not waste your days, understand? Yes. Lin Hui felt warmth in his heart. Jiang Pingfei sighed helplessly. Sister, let us go. Jiang Laniying nodded, realizing that further discussion would be futile. This stubborn child had always been headstrong. Once he made up his mind, even 10 oxen could not pull him back. Since he wished to remain in the army, as his mother, she could only respect his decision. Jiang Laniying turned the doorknob and opened the door. Suddenly, with a bang, Chen Qing burst in, maintaining the posture of someone who had just been eavesdropping. Everyone turned to stare at him, and the atmosphere grew awkward. He immediately rolled his eyes and pretended to be blind, turning to leave. Oh dear, I was looking for the restroom. Where is it? I distinctly remember it being around here. The others shot him a disapproving glare and left without a word. As soon as they were gone, Chen Qing swiftly re-entered, delivering a punch to Lin Hui's chest. Well done, my friend. I knew I was right about you. You have spirit, indeed. Lin Hui clutched his chest, exasperated. Could you please find another place to hit me? At this rate, I might end up seriously injured. Chapter 227. Who isn't a good child? On the campus of Lu University, a Rolls-Royce Phantom quietly parked beneath the office building. Passing students gazed in wonder, approaching to point and comment. Wow, what a beautiful car. 2RS. Could this be that Rolls thing? A small figure atop the hood caught their attention. Is that made of gold? If I touch it, will it come off? In this era, merely owning a car like the Tiger Head was already a symbol of immense wealth. The Rolls-Royce. In a time when information was not widely disseminated and computers had not yet become ubiquitous, was a vehicle that most had never even heard of. However, anyone could discern that this car was exceedingly valuable. After all, vehicles adorned with figures atop their hoods are never cheap. As Jiang Lanying and her companion descended the stairs, the crowd dispersed immediately. Once inside the car, the driver turned to inquire, "Where to?" Jiang Pengfei replied calmly, "To the airport." The vehicle started and slowly moved forward. Jiang Lanying gazed out the window, occasionally turning her head to glance behind her, her eyes filled with nostalgia. Jiang Pengfei patted her gently, offering comfort. "Sister, do not dwell on it. Every child grows up and develops their own thoughts. Just look at your eldest nephew, my son. Despite his myriad interests, he has chosen to embrace extreme sports. I often worry about when he might meet danger, yet you and I must support him, just the same." Jiang Lanying turned her head, rubbed her eyes, and replied, "You are right. Children grow up and have their own ideas. As long as Xiao Hui isn't reckless like your son, I will be content. At least I know where he is alive, which is far better than knowing where he has met his end." Jiang Pengfei felt an urge to slap himself. Why do you have to bring that up? You always have to touch on sensitive topics. Suddenly, Jiang Lanying clapped her hands to get the driver's attention. "Turn around, take us to the city center, to the large supermarket." Understood, the driver replied promptly, adjusting the vehicle's course toward the city. Jiang Pengfei, taken aback, exclaimed, "Sister, weren't we heading to the airport? I have a meeting tomorrow morning. Those Americans are coming to discuss the launch of the new product." Jiang Lanying shot him a glare. "When did it become your place to question my decisions? Your matters are important, and mine are too." The corners of Jiang Pengfei's eyes twitched, recalling the childhood fears of being bossed around by his elder sister. He could only nod obediently. "Your matters are paramount. Your matters are paramount. Xiao Zhang, drive faster. Don't hinder Jiang's important business." Lin Hui emerged from the office, unknowingly strolling towards the artificial lake where he had trained earlier that day. He found a bench and sat down, gazing at the tranquil surface of the water, exhaling deeply. Previously, he had worried about how to approach his mother regarding his desire to remain in the military. Now, having laid everything bare and successfully persuaded her to leave, the weight on his heart had finally lifted. No child wishes for anything but their parents' approval. Lin Hui, too, longed for his mother's support, hoping to make her proud. However, some matters require patience. Today might have been overwhelming for her, but with time, understanding would surely come. Back on Crescent Island, Sergeant Wei had once said, "Even the most ordinary soldier who steadfastly fulfills their duties is a good soldier." Yet now, Lin Hui had developed his own understanding and definition of what it means to be a good soldier. He thought of his father and his older brothers, a proud smile creeping onto his lips. "What makes you so remarkable? Is it merely that you have spent a few more years in the military than I have? Just wait and see. There will come a day when I will surpass you. Then I shall tell you. A true good soldier is not one who imposes their will upon others, but one who encourages them to seek their own goals and beliefs." After sitting by the lake for a while, enjoying the evening breeze, Lin Hui finally returned to the dormitory. Upon entering, he was instantly taken aback. There, in the dormitory, were several large cardboard boxes the size of refrigerators. His mother and uncle sat on his bed, chatting amiably with the other residents of the dorm. Jiang Lanying smiled warmly at Wang Yong and said, "You have such a fair and delicate appearance. Your skin is so good. You hardly resemble a child from the countryside. Where would you find a rural child looking so refined?" Wang Yong's face blossomed into a broad smile, akin to a blooming chrysanthemum. "Auntie, you flatter me too much. I come from the urban-rural fringe, but I am indeed quite close to the city. Ha ha ha." Chun Eru eagerly pointed to himself and exclaimed, "Auntie, take a look at me." Jiang Lanying turned her head, still smiling, and remarked, "You are different from him. You possess a robust and dignified demeanor, reminiscent of the great generals from ancient times." Jiang Pengfei chimed in, "You know the door god from the New Year paintings, Wei Qigong? You two are practically identical." Chun Eru, hands on his hips, laughed heartily. "Since I was a child, I've looked in the mirror and thought I was exceptional. It seems I must have been a great general in my past life." Observing his mother and uncle growing increasingly ridiculous, Lin Hui's lips twitched in disbelief. Both of them were masters of the marketplace, adept at charming words to anyone they encountered. In the dormitory, these four were intertwined. And even a second round of flattery would not make them any match for either of the two. Simply uttering a few compliments. And this group of fools actually believed it. What do you resemble, Eru? Don't you have any self-awareness? At best, you look like a stable hand from ancient times. Mother, uncle. The two turned around with cheerful smiles and stood up. Oh, Xiao Hui, you're back. Lin Hui, with a face full of exasperation, replied. Didn't you leave? Why are you back again? You can't go back on your word. Hurry up and leave. We still have to study. What is wrong with you? Jiang Pengfei retorted, displeased. Your mother specifically bought you some things. How can you speak to her in such a manner? Wang Yong added earnestly. Indeed. How can you speak to my aunt like that? It's utterly impolite. Shun Eru shot Lin Hui a disdainful look and turned to Jiang Lanying, saying, Annie, don't worry. If he speaks ill of you again, we'll all team up to teach him a lesson. Lin Hui nearly rolled his eyes to the heavens. These two traitors. A few sweet words, and they turned against him? Have they forgotten the pain of their past? Jiang Lanying approached and patted him, saying, all right. We understand you've grown up and wish to save face. We'll take our leave now. Remember to come back often. Got it. Seeing the two hurriedly leave, Lin Hui paused for a moment and quickly called out, Hey, take the things with you. There is no space in the dormitory. The two didn't look back and hurriedly dashed to the car. Once inside, Jiang Lanying waved goodbye to the building and cheerfully said, Son, we bought these things especially for you. Don't waste them. We're leaving now. Lin Hui watched the car speed away, his face filled with bewilderment. Did they really need to rush off as if they had done something earth-shattering? Upon returning to the dormitory, he gazed at the large boxes. Feeling a headache coming on, what on earth is in these? How am I supposed to deal with all this? Just adding to my troubles. Heh, we'll help you. A group of friends rushed forward, frantically tearing into the boxes like dogs digging in the dirt. The boxes opened, and a cascade of food spilled out, nearly overwhelming the entire dormitory. What a plethora of snacks. Spicy strips, Wangzi steamed buns, Gao Lego, mealy candy, Sanhui wheat wind bread, and Dalian egg cakes. Lin Hui's eyes widened in disbelief, his jaw nearly crashing to the ground. What is this? With this much food, one could survive 2 years even if the world were to end. I wonder if there are any regulations in the army? Everyone's eyes sparkled with excitement. As if they had unearthed treasures. Wang Yong quickly grabbed a handful and stuffed it into his embrace. Zhou Xiaolan's spicy strips, my absolute favorite. Don't even think about snatching them from me. They are all mine. Eru, you can have the steamed buns. They suit you since you're so small. Shun Eru clutched 2 cans of Gao Lego, unable to part with them. I want to have the steamed buns. I must try this since I've never had it before. As he spoke, he snatched another handful of milk tablets, stowing them away with glee. Suda and Zhang Wei were equally overjoyed, laughing heartily. It had been centuries since they had seen such an abundance of delectable treats. Like madmen, they stuffed their pockets, cramming everything into their cabinets, determined not to miss out. Wang Yong opened a can of Wangzi milk, taking a hearty gulp, and chuckled at Lin Hui. Who would have guessed, Hui Gu, that you're still your mother-esque good little boy? Afraid you might go hungry. She sent all this food. Lin Hui nearly spat blood. Goodness, who knows what they're thinking? Chapter 228. Since you are shameless, I shall be unreserved. Hui Gu, can I drink this box of AD calcium milk? Go ahead, drink it. Hui Gu, do you eat spicy strips? If not, I'll take them all. Take them. Take them. Lin Hui waved his hand impatiently. You gluttons, take whatever you want and spare me the pretense. As soon as he said this, they pounced like ravenous dogs, rushing to open the other boxes, devouring all the snacks inside. Cabinets, under beds, drawers, everything was stuffed to the brim, unable to even be locked. Each person beamed with joy, elated beyond the celebrations of the new year. This bounty of snacks could last us a year. Indeed, following Hui Gu means never going hungry. Hui Gu, you are my savior. Lin Hui rolled his eyes at these characters, their expressions shifting faster than flipping a book. Before long, the lights-out signal sounded. Lin Hui finished his evening routine and lay on his bed, contemplating. Perhaps I should seek out the homeroom teacher tomorrow. The next morning, Lin Hui knocked on the office door. Sun Yuanxiao was inside preparing his lessons. As the homeroom teacher, he arrived half an hour earlier than other teachers daily. A habit formed over many years. Report. Sun Yuanxiao set down his pen and looked up at Lin Hui, asking, So early, what brings you here? Lin Hui smiled and replied, Teacher, I have a matter I would like your assistance with. What is it? You see, Lin Hui said earnestly. We came here from the army, entering late as transfer students. Although we are currently studying foundational cultural courses, I am concerned that I may hold back the class and wish to accelerate my learning. Sun Yuanxiao's gaze flickered. These kids are quite ambitious, aren't they? Lin Hui looked at him earnestly and said, So, could you possibly gather the materials from other subjects and the content we missed earlier for us to study independently? We wish to make up for our shortcomings. At the very least, we should not hold back the class. His words resonated deeply within him, moving him almost to tears. He was indeed a diligent student striving for improvement. As the semester drew to a close, who else but him deserved the titles of model student and outstanding scholar? Sun Yuanshao regarded him with admiration, remarking, "The very fact that you harbor such thoughts indicates you are all students eager for progress. However, I do not possess these materials here, but I can offer you a suggestion." Lin Hui's heart leaped with joy. "What is it?" Sun Yuanshao replied with a smile. "You could seek assistance from the senior students. They have taken notes in class and highlighted key points in their textbooks, which would undoubtedly aid your studies." Lin Hui was momentarily speechless. This posed quite a challenge for him. During his time here, he had not absorbed much knowledge but had managed to offend a multitude of classmates. Who would lend him anything? As for students from other classes, he was a stranger to them. It was unlikely they would help him. "Teacher, could you perhaps mention this on my behalf?" Lin Hui understood that if the homeroom teacher spoke up, they would certainly comply. Sun Yuanshao shook his head with a smile. "I cannot assist you in this matter. You must seek help yourself. I believe with your capabilities, borrowing something will be a simple task." Lin Hui felt utterly disheartened. After all his efforts, had it all been in vain? This cunning old fox was clearly setting him up for a challenge. Noticing that Lin Hui was about to speak again, Sun Yuanshao promptly issued a dismissal. "If there is nothing else, you may leave. I need to prepare for my lessons." With a resigned sigh, Lin Hui exited the office. Without the homeroom teacher's assistance, it seemed he would have to muster the courage to ask his classmates for help. Who could he possibly approach? After a moment of contemplation, he determined that seeking help from a poor-performing student would be futile, as their notes would likely be incomplete and convoluted. He resolved to approach the class monitor instead. Aside from him, there was no better option available. Having set his goal, he acted decisively. After lunch, during the break, Lin Hui discreetly pulled Feng Chao aside and cornered him against the wall. Feng Chao regarded him warily, panic evident in his eyes. "What do you want? Are you looking for a fight? I warn you, even though I cannot defeat you, I have a loud voice and will scream for help." Lin Hui chuckled. "You've misunderstood. I derive no satisfaction from beating someone like you." Feng Chao's face flushed with embarrassment, and he insisted, "Lin Hui, I'm telling you, our conflict is far from over. Just wait. One day, I will make you regret this." All right, we can discuss that later." Lin Hui waved his hand dismissively. "I want to propose a deal." Feng Chao, taken aback by the intensity of Lin Hui's gaze as he scrutinized him, quickly covered his chest and stammered, What do you intend to do?" "I assure you, I am not that kind of person." Lin Hui stroked his chin, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. "Rest assured, I have no interest in your virtue. I only desire your intellect. That is out of the question." Feng Chao felt a mix of embarrassment and anger. "These are my most treasured possessions. Even if you strike me, insult me, or humiliate me, I will never surrender them to you. Even if you possess my body, you shall never possess my heart." Lin Hui's lips curled in disdain. "Vile, depraved, perverted. What is going on in that mind of yours? I merely suggested that I teach you combat skills. I require the notes and textbooks from your previous classes." In an instant, Feng Chao realized the misunderstanding. He scrutinized Lin Hui and skeptically inquired, "What do you need those for?" "To study, of course. What else?" Lin Hui rubbed his hands together, donning a servile smile reminiscent of an innkeeper. "Feng Chao, Master Feng. You may not be aware, but I have long admired you. Your academic prowess is impressive, and your looks are charming, far superior to us rough-hewn individuals. We aspire to improve and not drag our class down, yet we lack the means, which is why I have shamelessly sought your assistance." This speech nearly made Lin Hui nauseous, but as long as he could borrow the materials, he would suppress his conscience. He could always insist on receiving compliments after achieving his goal. Feng Chao straightened his posture, a smile lighting up his face. "Do you truly admire me so?" Lin Hui nodded earnestly. "Of course. Is that even a question? Your grades rank you among the top 5 in the entire year. It's impossible not to admire you. If you could lend me those old books and notes, I assure you, we will progress rapidly. In time, wouldn't tea that bring glory to our class? If we shine, your status as class leader will be enhanced as well." Feng Chao chuckled at him. "That is true. Since you admire me so much, why not call me brother for me to hear?" Lin Hui's expression darkened. "Now that is a bit excessive, isn't it?" Feng Chao crossed his arms defiantly. "If you don't want to, then forget it. Go ask someone else. Let's see if anyone will lend you their materials. Of course, it won't matter, as no one in the class has notes as comprehensive and detailed as mine." Lin Hui gritted his teeth, acknowledging Feng Chao's cunning. "Fine, I will call you brother." Feng Chao scoffed. "It's brother, not just bro. Who do you think you're fooling?" Lin Hui was infuriated, cursing under his breath as he reluctantly forced the words out. "I called you. Now can we proceed with the exchange?" Feng Chao burst into laughter. A mocking smile plastered on his face. "Who wants to trade with you? I merely wanted to toy with you." Lin Hui's expression soured instantly. "Damn you." Seeing Lin Hui's distress, Feng Chao's smile widened, as if he were basking in triumph. "This is merely a taste of your own medicine. Do you have any idea how much I have endured since your arrival? The skin on my feet has worn down, and the calluses on my hands have thickened more than after a year of hard work. You want my notes and study materials? Fine, but from now on, whenever you see me, you must call me brother and bow at a 90-degree angle. He held his head high, swaggering with an insufferable grin. And whatever I ask of you, you must comply. When the day comes that I am in a good mood, I shall lend you the materials. With that, Fong Chao laughed heartily, striding away with an air of indifference. This was the first time he had taken advantage of Lin Hui. It was utterly delightful. Lin Hui gazed at his retreating figure, a cold glint in his eyes. Fine, since you have no shame, don't blame me for being impolite. Let this be a case of courtesy before conflict. Chapter 229. Those who offend him do not end well after dinner. Lin Hui made his way to the computer lab. Presenting his student ID and filling out a plethora of forms, he finally borrowed a laptop. Upon returning to his dormitory, he eagerly opened the laptop, connected to the internal network, and began to dial in for login. Hey, what are you up to? Wang Yong and Chun Eru approached with curiosity. One had his mouth stuffed with bread, while the other crunched on biscuits, crumbs cascading down him. Lin Hui looked at them with disdain. Are you two funnel mouths? You're getting crumbs all over me. Sorry. The two quickly came over to brush the crumbs off. Eru gathered the residue and popped it back into his mouth. Lin Hui turned back to glare at him. Get lost. Eat your food away from me. The two immediately stuck out their tongues and took a step back. Suda, holding a book, curiously approached. Why did you suddenly bring back a computer? Wang Yong's eyes lit up. I know. Why? You're not planning to play CS, are you? Zhang Wei quickly joined in. That game is quite popular now. Let me play a couple of rounds with you. Chun Eru scratched his head, looking perplexed. What are you all talking about? I don't understand. Wang Yong chuckled. You don't know CS? It's the hottest game at the moment, a first-person shooter where you play as cops and robbers. You can play solo against the computer or connect to a local network to compete with others. That is amazing. I want to play too. Chun Eru suddenly became excited, pestering Lin Hui for a chance to play. Lin Hui was utterly exasperated. Play? Are you kidding me? I'm busy with important matters. Oh, the other's enthusiasm waned instantly. Nevertheless, they lingered around, unwilling to leave. Lin Hui ignored them and began operating the laptop. During this time, he had attended classes and read numerous books on computer operations. The systematic learning had significantly enhanced his computer skills. Although he couldn't perform the intricate maneuvers of advanced hackers, accomplishing small tasks through the internal network was a breeze. Lin Hui clicked the mouse swiftly, and soon a dialog box filled with various codes appeared on the screen. Ding! Hacking skill level 1. Lin Hui stared at the screen for a while, grasping the gist before his fingers began to dance rapidly across the keyboard. Click, click, click. The others watched nearby, their faces a mixture of confusion and frustration. Their limited skills rendered them unable to discern what Lin Hui was doing. Wang Yong whispered, Does Huij really know how to use a computer? Chun Eru nodded in agreement. Probably not. It looks like he's just randomly messing around. This thing is expensive. If he breaks it, it would be disastrous. Wang Yong chuckled. No worries. Our aunt has money. The others nodded in agreement. Right, that makes sense. Lin Hui nearly spat blood. These guys were truly something else. However, he could comprehend the concerns of others. In this era, computers had yet to become commonplace. In households where a computer was present, it was considered a prized possession, often costing several tens of thousands. As for laptops, they were even more elusive, with the average person never having laid eyes on one, let alone a military-grade laptop. Amidst the growing apprehension, Lin Hui struck the enter key with a decisive click. The computer screen abruptly transitioned, revealing another individual's desktop. Lin Hui chuckled. We're connected. In the afternoon, he took the time to inquire and discovered that Fong Chao had invested a considerable sum to acquire his own laptop for study purposes. This was the very reason Lin Hui devised such a cunning plan, to teach him a lesson. With a satisfied smile, he continued his operations, and before long, he wrapped up his tasks. He closed the laptop, stood up, stretched lazily, and comfortably collapsed onto his bed. The group stared in bewilderment at both the computer and Lin Hui on the bed, their minds swirling with questions. Suda asked Lin Hui, What exactly are you up to? With his hands tucked beneath his head, Lin Hui grinned and replied, I'm up to something significant. The others, filled with curiosity, gathered around him. Wang Yong rubbed his hands together, adopting a sycophantic demeanor. Brother Hui, we're all good friends here. Why keep secrets from family? Do tell us. Lin Hui sat up, a cold smirk playing on his lips. That brat Fong Chao is too arrogant. I went to borrow something from him at noon, and after much persuasion, I wore my tongue out. Yet he not only refused to lend it, but even demanded I call him brother? I've never felt such humiliation in my life. Do you think I can endure this? The others erupted in laughter, stifling their mouths. Wang Yong slapped his thigh, laughing heartily. Brother Hui, who would have thought you'd encounter a setback? We ought to thank him. Upon seeing Lin Hui's fierce gaze, everyone instantly sobered. Wang Yong waved his hand. That's not what I meant. I meant to say, if someone as clever as you can be outsmarted, that fellow is truly despicable. Chun Eru, suppressing laughter, nodded earnestly. Yes, just tell us how to deal with him. We'll join you. Lin Hui waved his hand dismissively. No need. I've already taken care of it. Just wait for the show tonight. The group exchanged puzzled glances, unsure of what he had in mind. Before long, a loudspeaker outside began to play music. Everyone hurried to wash up. Feng Chao, in his dormitory, was diligently researching on his computer, meticulously taking notes. Class leader, are you going to wash up? Lu Gao called out, holding a basin. Feng Chao shook his head. You go ahead. I still have some work to finish. A few minutes later, he completed his task and contentedly shut down the computer. Li Shanghe, freshly washed, emerged and curiously asked, Class leader, what did that Lin fellow want from you today? Feng Chao smiled. You mean Lin Hui? He came to borrow something. What did he want to borrow? My old notes and some textbooks for other subjects. Did you lend them to him? Of course not. In fact, I played a trick on him. The others immediately became excited, as if they had struck a tremendous bargain. Well done. They should be playfully toyed with. A group of illiterates. Yet they have the audacity to come and borrow materials from you. If borrowing is to be done, it should be from us. Do they truly comprehend the profound knowledge you possess? Feng Chao smiled faintly, remaining silent. However, he could not help but regard Lin Hui with a heightened sense of esteem. The fact that Lin Hui sought him out for materials indicated a genuine desire to learn, coupled with a commendable spirit of ambition. Their capabilities in military matters were undeniably impressive. If they could also catch up academically, they would truly be formidable. Feng Chao felt a tinge of pride. Perhaps he would tease him a few more times, and when the time came for Lin Hui to request something, he would willingly oblige. After a quick wash-up, the lights were soon extinguished. Meanwhile, on Lin Hui's side, everyone had settled down. Wang Yong turned over and curiously asked, Brother Hui, what are you up to? Weren't you supposed to deal with that kid? I haven't seen any action yet. Lin Hui smiled slightly. Patience is key. How can we not be anxious about this? Chun Eru exclaimed indignantly. You're already calling him brother. What am I supposed to call him when I see him? Big brother? Absolutely not. We must teach him a lesson first. I haven't taken advantage of you yet, and I want let him do so first. Lin Hui's expression darkened in exasperation. All right, when we sleep later, keep one eye open. Don't fall too deeply into slumber. The group exchanged glances. Although they were unaware of his intentions, they understood that crossing Lin Hui would lead to dire consequences. Chapter 230. Who blows a whistle in the dead of night? How unkind. In the stillness of the night, gentle snores soon echoed through the dormitory. The environment here differed slightly from that of a real military unit. The focus was primarily on academic learning, with military training as a supplementary component. Those who managed to enter were all exceptional talents. Upon graduation, they would be assigned to grassroots units, taking on command roles. The capable would emerge as the backbone of future forces, while even those with lesser abilities would cultivate a steady stream of outstanding soldiers. Thus, the emphasis here was on acquiring various cultural knowledge, with the true trials awaiting them in the grassroots units. In front of the dormitory building, a patrol team passed by. Upon spotting two officers with flashlights approaching, they immediately halted and saluted. Good evening, leaders. One of the colonels nodded and inquired, Is there any situation? The patrol leader shook his head. No issues detected. Everything is normal. Good. Continue with the inspections. Yes, sir. The patrol, flashlight in hand, began to check each dormitory. Upon reaching the dormitory at the end of the corridor, the officer shone his flashlight inside, confirming that everyone was lying in bed asleep without any abnormalities. The patrol departed to inspect other quarters. Just as they left, Lin Hui, who had been feigning sleep, suddenly opened his eyes as if resurrected. He glanced at his watch. The luminous hands pointing precisely at midnight. A wicked grin spread across his face. It's almost time. As the minutes ticked by, at 1 o'clock in the morning, a piercing whistle unexpectedly pierced the silence of the dormitory. Feng Chao was startled, nearly tumbling out of bed in shock. He sprang up instinctively, hastily donning his clothes, and whispered urgently to the others, Quickly, quickly, emergency assembly, emergency assembly. The others scrambled out of bed with great haste. What on earth is happening? Why the sudden emergency assembly? Could it be a serious matter? Perhaps an urgent drill? Everyone hurriedly gathered their belongings, making every effort to maintain silence. The entire dormitory building was shrouded in darkness, yet a rustling noise emanated from each room. The staircase echoed with a cacophony of footsteps. They rushed out of the dormitory, sprinting towards the ground floor. Once downstairs, they immediately formed ranks according to their classes. The class leader took charge, commanding, Attention, at ease, begin counting. Everyone promptly began to whisper their numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once assembled, they quickly returned to their positions. The surroundings were eerily quiet. Save for the whispering of the cold wind rustling the branches, leaving no other sound to be heard. Lu Gao craned his neck, glancing around in bewilderment. Why hasn't any other building assembled? Others began to notice the peculiar situation as well. What on earth is going on? Why are we the only ones gathered here? There was no instructor in sight. What could possibly have happened? Observing the confusion on everyone's faces, Lin Hui struggled to suppress a laugh. Just then, 2 or 3 instructors donned their uniforms and rushed over. Stand straight. Without needing to be reminded, everyone immediately straightened up. Upon the instructor's arrival, they glanced around and promptly joined the ranks. This left everyone utterly astonished. They stole sidelong glances and noted that 2 instructors stood rigidly, further solidifying their belief that a superior was coming to inspect. No one dared to move, standing as stiff as statues. After waiting for 5 minutes without a hint of activity, the instructors' noses turned red from the cold. One instructor frowned and inquired, "What is going on here?" The others shared a look of confusion. "I don't know. We came down when we heard the whistle. Was there no assembly called? We didn't see anything." "Well, let us wait a bit longer. Perhaps the leader went to the restroom." After a while, silence enveloped the area. It felt as though they were the only souls standing in the frigid wind on the entire campus. A gust of cold air swept through, prompting a chorus of sneezes among the ranks. Unable to endure the chill any longer, several instructors turned to admonish the gathered crowd to remain still, then left the formation to search the vicinity. After a thorough search, they found not a single soul. Once they departed, the cadets began to murmur softly to one another, cautious not to raise their voices, their chatter resembling the buzzing of mosquitoes. Chun Eru nudged Lin Hui with his elbow and quietly asked, "Hey, Brother Hui, did you orchestrate this?" Wang Yong chuckled, "Do we even need to ask? Such mischief must surely be your doing." Lin Hui smiled faintly. "There's a reason I advised you all to sleep with your eyes open. Sure, let us keep it down." The others nodded, still puzzled about Lin Hui's intentions. Nevertheless, for those of them from the ranks of the grassroots, an emergency assembly was merely child's play. The Tiger Brigade is a fully operational unit, perpetually required to maintain a state of combat readiness. It is quite commonplace for them to be summoned for an emergency assembly, regardless of the circumstances. They have long since grown accustomed to this routine. Soon enough, several instructors returned with stern expressions, seriously inquiring, "Who sounded the whistle?" The group exchanged glances, remaining silent. How could the instructors not know? One of the instructors lowered his voice, suggesting, "This matter is not connected to them. It is likely some leader came by to assess our responses. Upon observing our quick reaction, he simply left without approaching." This reasoning seemed plausible. After all, what audacity would a trainee possess to jest at their expense? The instructor then dismissed the formation, stating, "All right, everyone disperse and return to your quarters." The group's faces fell, filled with a sense of despondency. It was the first time they had experienced an emergency assembly without encountering anyone since joining the academy. Lu Gao grumbled, "Who on earth is so inconsiderate as to sound a whistle in the middle of the night? Are they toying with us?" Fang Chao consoled, "Let it go. Perhaps there truly was a leader nearby, and it would be unfortunate if they heard it. Now, let us return to sleep. I'm utterly exhausted." Each individual retreated to their dormitory, settling back down to rest. Upon Lin Hui's return to the dormitory, the others quickly surrounded him. "Suda, ever curious," pressed Lin Hui. "What on earth are you planning? Share it with us." Lin Hui smiled and replied, "If it's not meant to be asked, do not pry. Just ensure you are dressed for bed, as there is more to come." More. The group exchanged glances, all displaying wry smiles. Suda sighed, "This is disastrous. No one will sleep tonight. We might as well join him in his madness." Before long, the dormitories resonated with a chorus of snores. At the academy, while military training is secondary, the workload is still considerable. In the future, they are all destined to be deployed as junior officers. Therefore, before being assigned to the field, each of them must hone a resilient physique over the span of 4 years. Thus, by nightfall, they typically succumb to slumber almost immediately upon laying their heads down. As seconds ticked by, the clock soon struck 2 in the morning. A piercing whistle once again shattered the stillness of the night. Fang Chao threw off his covers, springing from his bed in alarm. "What the hell? Not again." He hastily urged the others, "Quickly, get up. This time it seems someone is genuinely coming to inspect us." Everyone scrambled to dress properly and hurried downstairs to assemble. The instructors had also arrived early. However, after waiting for a while, it became evident that no one was present. What on earth is going on? Someone finally voiced their frustration, asking, "Instructors, who sounded the whistle?" Several instructors appeared visibly agitated, retorting, "It was not us." They surveyed their surroundings and began to murmur amongst themselves. Which leader was so peculiar as to blow a whistle, only to have people hide away? They had never encountered such absurdity. Who could be so trivial? Never mind, since no one is here, let us disperse and return to sleep. The formation was dissolved, and they all returned to their quarters to rest. After enduring 2 exhausting episodes, everyone found themselves on the brink of neurosis. lying in their beds. None dared to close their eyes for fear of another whistle blowing. Li Shanghe, with weary eyes, lamented, "Class leader, shall we sleep or not?" Fang Xiao, wide-eyed and alert like an owl, retorted, "Sleep? Are you joking? Look at this situation. Do you really think they want us to have a good night's rest?" It was uncertain who the malicious prankster was, roaming about in the dead of night instead of letting them rest. Each person felt the weight of their frustration, cursing the whistleblower silently in their hearts. Yet, lying in bed, no one dared to succumb to sleep. They merely stared at each other, forcing themselves to stay awake. Throughout the dormitory, only Lin Hui was sleeping soundly. He had informed them that the next whistle would blow in an hour and a half, urging everyone to seize the moment to rest. The others, weary beyond measure, quickly succumbed to slumber as soon as their heads hit the pillows. Knowing it was Lin Hui's mischief, they felt somewhat reassured. At precisely 3:10 in the morning, all eyes had turned bloodshot. One by one, they could no longer hold on. "I can't take it anymore. I'm too tired. It's 3 o'clock. They surely won't blow the whistle again. I must sleep, or I might perish," Fang Xiao lamented, as his eyelids waged a war against each other, his physical limits reached. With the day ahead filled with academic classes and training, he relied on the night to recuperate. If he didn't rest soon, he would be a lifeless shell by morning. Fang Xiao peacefully closed his eyes, declaring, "Let us sleep. The leaders have probably left. They wouldn't blow it again." No sooner had he spoken than he slipped into a deep slumber. However, just as everyone had barely drifted off, the shrill whistle pierced the silence once more. Fang Xiao's eyes widened in terror. "Oh my God, are they trying to kill us?" A group of them scrambled to dress and rushed downstairs to assemble. Yet, as before, there was no one below. Several instructors, seething with anger, were fuming. One instructor bellowed, "What on earth is happening? No one from our building has come to check. Who blew the whistle?" Another instructor glanced at his watch, exasperation etched on his face. "It's past 3. We've spent the whole night in chaos and barely slept. Will we even have the strength to learn and train tomorrow?" At this moment, the instructors began to suspect that someone was playing a prank. They shouted at the students, "Who is it? Who is the one playing this joke?" The students were utterly bewildered. A prank? Could they possibly be the authors of their own misfortune? Amidst the crowd, Lin Hui smirked, casting a sidelong glance at the bewildered Fang Xiao. "You dared to call me brother. Now you'll learn who the true master is. Just wait and see what I'll do to you." Chapter 231. You are slandering an honest illiterate. All gathered together, the instructors, accompanied by each class leader, commenced a thorough search of the students. One instructor, livid, shouted, "Search meticulously. Pockets, shoes, hats, nothing must be overlooked. I want to see which scoundrel is playing tricks in the dead of night." The faces of the students were a picture of disbelief. Who among them would dare to joke so recklessly? Wasn't he that akin to courting death? Despite the grievances brewing within, compliance remained a necessity. The instructor, with an air of sternness, reiterated, "Let me emphasize once more. Those who confess will be treated leniently, while those who resist will face severe consequences. Step forward and admit your mistakes to receive lighter penalties. Otherwise, you shall be dealt with harshly." At this moment, doubt began to creep into the minds of the assembled, leading to hushed whispers and furtive exchanges. Could it be that someone was truly courting disaster? Surely not. Who would engage in such folly at this late hour? "Hush! Keep quiet. The instructor is approaching," came the urgent reminder. As the search progressed, it soon reached Lin Hui. Throughout the process, he maintained an air of cooperation, wearing a facade of innocence. Once the inspection concluded without incident, the instructor proceeded with the class leaders to continue the search. Once they had distanced themselves, Wang Yong leaned closer to Lin Hui, curiosity piqued. "Brother Hui, what on earth are you up to? Isn't this a case of harming oneself while trying to harm others?" Chun Eru nodded in agreement, adding, "Indeed, they aren't sleeping well, and neither are we. Just look at these dark circles under my eyes. I resemble a panda." Lin Hui offered a faint smile. "You will soon find out. Just wait and enjoy the spectacle." The group exchanged glances, their curiosity gnawing at them like an inquisitive kitten. They simply could not fathom Lin Hui's intentions, and thus, they stifled their intrigue, opting to observe the unfolding drama. Before long, all classes had completed their searches. Report: no suspicious items were found. How could this be? Instructor Wang scratched his head in bewilderment. His colleague, Instructor Wu, glanced at the clock with a sigh. "Instructor Wang, it's getting late. Perhaps we should let this go and allow everyone to return to their quarters to rest, so as not to disrupt tomorrow's classes?" However, Wang, known for his fiery temperament, was resolute. "Absolutely not. They think they can toy with us. This matter cannot end here. I am determined to uncover the mastermind behind this." "But how?" someone queried. "Nothing was found on their persons, so it must be hidden elsewhere." Wang seethed, his frustration palpable. "Search the dormitory. I refuse to believe we cannot locate it." He pointed at the group before him, commanding, "Those residing on the second floor will search the first floor. Those on the third will search the second, and so forth, until the first floor searches the top floor. We shall leave no stone unturned to prevent any potential cheating. Furthermore, he insisted, every corridor, every nook and cranny must be thoroughly scrutinized. Yes, understood. Came the chorus of compliance as the second-floor residents rushed out to commence their search of the first-floor dormitories. They scoured under beds, behind cabinets, leaving no area unchecked. After all, the whistle was relatively easy to conceal, and without meticulous attention, it could easily remain undiscovered. Before long, the first-floor dormitories were in disarray, resembling a dog-est den. "Hey, that's my treasure. Don't toss my things around," exclaimed one. "Watch out. Don't unfold that poster. It's a special photo of my instructor." Instructor Wang barked at them. Silence. The students on the first floor fell mute, not daring to utter a sound. Wang shouted further, "Just search properly. No one asked you to ransack your homes." "Of course," came the meek reply, as the occupants inside began to tread more lightly. Lu Gao furrowed his brow and whispered, "Who could be the scoundrel behind this mischief?" Li Shang scoffed, "I suspect it's none other than Lin Hui and his lot. They are the most desperate among us." In times past, when they were absent, such chaos had never arisen. Fang Chao suddenly recalled the events of the day. Fixing his gaze upon Lin Hui and his companions with unwavering certainty, it had to be them. He resolved to instruct those on the fourth floor to conduct a thorough search of Lin Hui's dormitory, convinced they would uncover something incriminating. The others nodded in agreement, hastily seeking acquaintances on the fourth floor to keep a vigilant watch over Lin Hui's quarters. The search on the first floor concluded swiftly, leading them to the second floor, where no items of interest were found. They then proceeded to the third floor. As the group arrived, just before commencing their search, a shrill whistle pierced the night once more. At that moment, everyone stood in stunned silence. For the sound was all too familiar, the very whistle that had tormented them moments before. Downstairs, Lin Hui wore a mischievous grin. "Ah, the timing is impeccable. Not a second off." Instructor Wang dashed upstairs at a sprint, following the sound. Where could it be emanating from? That dormitory. Several pointed in unison towards the dormitory at the staircase's entrance. Fang Chao, witnessing this scene, was rendered speechless. What is happening? How could the sound be coming from our dormitory? The others looked equally bewildered, replying, "We have no idea." At that moment, Instructor Wang had already entered the dormitory, scanning the room until he discovered that the sound was indeed emanating from a laptop. He immediately opened the device, nearly choking with rage. On the illuminated screen, a cartoon character clad in camouflage, with an infuriating expression, was gleefully blowing a whistle. The instructor's fury reached a boiling point as he rushed downstairs, laptop in hand, demanding, "Whose computer is this?" "It's mine," stammered Fang Chao, raising his hand, utterly flustered. The instructors stared at him in disbelief. Instructor Wang pointed at him with a sneer. "So it was you, huh? You, with your prominent eyebrows and earnest demeanor, engaging in such mischievous antics? Was it amusing to toy with us?" Fang Chao was on the verge of tears, desperately pleading, "It wasn't me." A fellow dormitory resident quickly intervened to clarify. "This is a misunderstanding. It must be a mistake. When we heard the whistle, we panicked and jumped up without realizing it was coming from the computer. Our first instinct was to react to the alarm, and we rushed to get dressed to head downstairs. Had we known the sound was from the computer, we would have smashed it rather than provoke the instructor." Instructor Wang's eyes blazed with fury, as if he were ready to devour them whole. "Can someone explain to me how this happened? Why was the sound coming from your computer?" Fang Chao stammered, unable to articulate a coherent response. "Instructor, I swear, it truly wasn't me." He was at a loss, tears nearly spilling from his eyes. The surrounding students were filled with indignation, wishing to deliver a swift kick to him in retaliation. Such a lack of integrity was utterly intolerable. Lin Hui coughed lightly and pointed at Fang Chao, stating, "Instructor, I suggest he be punished individually and severely. Otherwise, anyone could pull such a prank in the future. This is a school, a sacred place for diligent students to learn. Such jesting is utterly unacceptable." Fang Chao abruptly turned his head, fixing a piercing gaze upon him. At that moment, his mind buzzed with thoughts, the events of the day flashing through his consciousness like a strobe light. Suddenly, clarity struck him. This was undoubtedly the handiwork of Lin Hui. Fang Chao, with a flushed face and raised voice, exclaimed, "Instructor, it was he who set me up. It must have been him." All eyes immediately turned towards Lin Hui. Feeling wronged, Lin Hui feigned innocence, stating, "Class leader. How could you accuse someone who has just emerged from the grassroots military, an utter illiterate?" He pleaded, "Instructor, you must stand up for me. He is slandering me." Fang Chao was momentarily taken aback. Indeed, how could someone so technologically inept possibly orchestrate such a scheme? It was as if a hacker had infiltrated a computer system. Observing Lin Hui's playful expressions, Wang Yong and Chun Eru quickly caught on, shouting in unison, "Yes, he is an illiterate, a complete illiterate. How could an illiterate accomplish such a feat?" He learned to write only after joining the military, so stop with the nonsense and false accusations. The instructor was on the verge of an explosion, trembling with rage as he pointed at Feng Chao. You not only misjudge a comrade from the grassroots, but you also maliciously attack his shortcomings. You are utterly despicable. Tears welled up in Feng Chao's eyes as he protested. Instructor, I am innocent. I did not do it. Do not listen to their wild claims. Silence. The instructor roared. You, in your dormitory, are all fully armed. What? Feng Chao and his companions nearly choked in disbelief, their jaws hitting the ground. Chapter 232. Offending a petty person is permissible, but do not offend Lin Hui. Instructor Wang shouted furiously, fully armed. You all must circle the field and run 20 kilometers. The group from the same dormitory nearly fell to their knees. They were truly caught in the crossfire. Feng Chao, with a woeful expression, pleaded, Instructor, I am wronged. Please believe me. How could I possibly do such a thing? He turned to the instructor, surnamed Wu. Instructor Wu. You know me. Do I strike you as that kind of person? Instructor Wu rolled his eyes. One cannot judge a book by its cover. Who would have thought that this thick-browed, wide-eyed lad could be so unscrupulous? No, Instructor Wang coldly interrupted. 25 kilometers. The others, terrified, hastily attempted to clarify. Instructor, we can attest that Feng Chao has been studying diligently. He surely did not commit any wrongdoing. The computer must be malfunctioning. Instructor Wang snorted. 30 kilometers. Keep talking. And it will be 35. All were silenced by fear. They refrained from further protests and hurriedly donned their gear, sprinting towards the field, terrified that a slower pace would incur an additional 5 kilometers. As Feng Chao passed Lin Hui, he glared fiercely. You scoundrel. I know you are behind this. Just wait. Lin Hui smiled sweetly. All right, I will wait. I'll be here when you finish. Take your time. Enraged, Feng Chao could only postpone their reckoning for later. Once the others departed, Instructor Wang clapped his hands. While there is still time, hurry back and get some sleep. After the dismissal, everyone glared angrily at those penalized runners on the field, seething with frustration. This group of rascals has caused us a sleepless night. It's already 4 o'clock. How much longer can we endure? How long can we keep this facade? If not, we will all end up like dead dogs by tomorrow. One by one, everyone returned to the dormitory. Shortly thereafter, the sound of snoring echoed from upstairs. At that moment, a dormitory door creaked open slightly. Lin Hui cautiously poked his head out, glanced around to confirm no one was watching, and then opened the door, preparing to step outside. Suda quickly called out to him, Lin Hui, where are you off to now? That guy has already been thoroughly dealt with. You've wreaked enough havoc in one dormitory, haven't you? Lin Hui turned back with a faint smile. Torturing him is merely a means, not the end. I have other matters to attend to. What matters? Rest assured. It's something beneficial for everyone. Instantly, everyone's eyes lit up. Their essay benefit? What are we waiting for? Let us go. Lin Hui nodded and stealthily made his way to Feng Chao's dormitory. Upon entering, he quickly located Feng Chao's bed. The layout of the dormitory at Lu University differs from that of ordinary military barracks. Instead of bunk beds, it features 5 or 6 army beds with bookshelves and desks below, providing each individual with a dedicated study area. Approaching Feng Chao's desk, Lin Hui noticed everything was meticulously organized, with various subjects clearly categorized. Beside it was a thick stack of notebooks, densely filled with various key points. Even the supplementary textbooks were heavily annotated. Lin Hui casually flipped through them and found them all useful. Topics included electronic information warfare, applications of electronic computing and network technology, as well as analyses of classic tactical steps and detailed records. A broad smile spread across Lin Hui's face. This fellow is quite studious. No wonder his exam results are so impressive. You refused to lend me your notes, and now you're suffering for it. I hope this experience teaches you a lesson. While it's acceptable to offend a petty person, never cross a gentleman like me. A gentleman harbors grievances deeply and retaliates even more fiercely. He took no hesitation, grabbing a hefty stack of books and turning to leave. However, halfway there, he suddenly remembered something and turned back. He opened the laptop on the desk and began typing furiously. After finishing, he closed it quietly and returned to the dormitory. Upon entering, everyone eagerly rushed towards him. Wow, that is a lot. What treasures have you brought back? Lin Hui grinned, dumping all the books on the table and illuminating them with his flashlight. The benefits are all here. Seeing him return with a large stack of old books, everyone was taken aback. Wang Yong twitched his lips. What on earth is this, Huigo? Did you bring back these books to sell as scrap or to use as toilet paper? Lin Hui shot him an exasperated glance and addressed everyone. These are borrowed from Feng Chao. This guy is a total academic overachiever, and the books are filled with knowledge points. We joined midway and are already lagging behind. To catch up quickly, we must learn from their notes. The crowd nearly dropped to their knees in disbelief. Wang Yong looked utterly resistant. Is this what you just referred to as a benefit? Chun Eru, with a mournful expression, lamented, I wish I had never heard those words. You all may share the benefits. I would rather not partake. Lin Hui glared at the two individuals, commanding, enough with the idle chatter. Everyone, start copying immediately. We must return these items later, so hurry. Turn on all the flashlights. The group bore expressions of utter desolation. Were they ensnaring others, or merely ensnaring themselves? While others drifted into slumber, they were condemned to take notes. However, there was no alternative. Lin Hui was their leader, and they had to comply with his demands. The following morning, the wake-up call resounded. The entire building stirred, devoid of energy. Throughout the night, they had either awaited assembly or traversed the path to it, each one tormented to the brink of neurosis, utterly fatigued. As they engaged in morning exercises, they resembled zombies, struggling to muster any spirit. Vice Principal Chen Qing conducted his customary inspection, nodding in approval as he passed by other teams. But his demeanor turned stern upon reaching this particular group. With a scowl, Chen Qing inquired, what is the meaning of this? Why does everyone appear so listless? Did you not sleep last night? The leading instructor quickly recounted the events of the previous night. Sir, those mischief makers have been thoroughly punished and are currently running laps. Chen Qing turned his gaze and, indeed, spotted several individuals stumbling across a nearby field, engaged in their punishment. He exclaimed in fury, truly outrageous. They dare to sound the assembly whistle at will? They must be punished appropriately. Let them finish their laps, rest briefly, and then continue their punishment. Yes, sir. On the other side, Lin Hui concluded the morning exercises and returned to his notes. A group of individuals wrote fervently, their pens moving with such speed that sparks seemed to ignite upon the paper. Once they finished, Lin Hui hurriedly returned the materials to their rightful owner. Upon returning to the dormitory, he gazed upon his desk, adorned with these notes and textbooks marked with critical knowledge points, feeling as if he had stumbled upon a treasure. At last, the knowledge that others had taken 3 years to master could now be comprehended in a short time. What a delight! The others, however, wore faces of despair, their arms near exhaustion. Wang Yong, in a state of resignation, remarked, Brother Hui, while you rejoice, we feel as though we are on the verge of tears. With so much to learn, when will it end? Su De, equally at a loss for words, added, isn't it better to learn gradually? Why rush? One cannot grow fat in a single bite. Why force the issue? Such haste could backfire, leading to more forgetfulness than retention. Chun Era chimed in, indeed, Brother Hui. One should eat according to their capacity and drink as per their thirst. Lin Hui, glaring at them, retorted with conviction, cease this futile talk. We are here to acquire knowledge. What others have learned in 3 years, we must master in 3 months, and all within 3 weeks. Our time is limited, as is the time for the army. If we do not study diligently, how shall we return to construct our splendid military? The others felt disheartened. You are relentless, formidable, and lofty. Enough already. Can we not learn? As noon approached, Fong Chao and the others finally concluded their punishment. Exhausted and utterly fatigued, they returned crawling one by one. Upon reaching the dormitory, everyone collapsed, barely able to move a finger. Lu Gao, filled with frustration, cursed, which heartless wretch has put us in such a dire predicament? Fong Chao, panting heavily, replied, I told you, it must be Lin Hui. There's no one else. He's retaliating because I refused to lend him anything. The others looked on in disbelief. That's impossible. He's just an illiterate. He has even admitted it. Fong Chao retorted impatiently. Are you really going to take his word? Not a single punctuation mark of what he says is trustworthy. Struggling, he climbed from the floor to the bench, declaring, no. I must investigate if there are any traces left on the computer. Perhaps I can uncover some clues. With a smattering of hacker knowledge, he hoped to find some evidence. As soon as the computer booted up, music blared from the screen, leaving him momentarily bewildered. The others, drawn by the sound, gathered around, their eyes fixed on the display. There appeared a cartoon character resembling Lin Hui, dancing while speaking in a cheeky manner. Hey, do you like the gift I sent you? Wishing you all robust health and delightful meals. Signed, the military S. Wu Yanzu. In the next instant, the character vanished, and the screen was suddenly inundated with a swarm of bugs that began voraciously devouring the display, emitting sinister chuckles. No matter how Fong Chao manipulated the controls, the computer refused to respond. With a resounding thud, the screen turned a deep blue. After several restarts, the situation remained unchanged. The others, their faces pale, stared at Fong Chao in shock. What is happening? Fong Chao slammed his fist on the table, nearly bursting with rage. Damn it. We've caught a virus. He angrily turned to the others. Now do you see I wasn't unjustly accusing that Lin guy? I've never encountered such a malicious creature. The group nodded vigorously. Even a blind person could discern that the dancing figure was modeled after Lin Hui. And that final signature. Who else but Lin Hui could be so shameless? Chapter 233. Is this guy really going to submit a blank paper? Teacher, you must take our side. In the office, Fong Chao lamented to Sun Yuan Chao. We've been utterly victimized by that scoundrel Lin Hui. Can you believe the audacity of his actions in the dead of night, framing us? We've neither provoked nor antagonized him. What kind of upbringing produces such a monster? Sun Yuan Chao stared at the computer monitor for a long while before finally lifting his head. After all that, do you have any evidence? Fong Chao was left speechless with rage. What more evidence do you need? My computer crashing is the best proof. The others quickly chimed in. Teacher, we can vouch for it. A little figure popped up on the screen, cheeky and identical to Lin Hui. The signature read the military S. Wu Yanzu. No one else would dare to be so shameless. Sun Yuan Chao extended his hand and exclaimed, bring it forth, let me see. Everyone turned their gaze towards the screen, which displayed nothing but a vast expanse of blue. Where were the little figures? Sun Yuan Chao shrugged and, with a tone of resignation, remarked, so there is no evidence, is there? How can you prove that Lin Hui is the culprit without any proof? I cannot simply take your word for it and wrong an innocent person. In their hearts, everyone screamed, what sort of innocent man is he? He is the very embodiment of cunning. Sun Yuan Chao continued, let us reconsider this matter. Even if he is indeed responsible for this incident, have you ever pondered why he targeted you specifically and not others? If you had not provoked him, would he have acted in such a manner? Although the group felt disgruntled, they could not deny that they had initiated the conflict. With a serious demeanor, Sun Yuan Chao stated, from my understanding of him, he is diligent, hardworking, and eager to learn. Since joining the school, he has devoted himself to his studies, remaining oblivious to external distractions. Why do you not reflect on your own actions? A commendable student like him, who has risen through the ranks from the grassroots level, already demonstrates the recognition he has earned from the foundational military units. He continued, in the future, you too will be assigned to grassroots units. If you cannot even get along with a student recognized by the military, how will you integrate into those units, lead soldiers effectively, and fulfill your missions, thereby enhancing the military's stature? The group fell silent, unable to respond. Sun Yuan Chao closed the laptop and returned it to Fong Chao. Very well, this matter ends here. Go about your duties. Fong Chao, with a face full of frustration, protested, teacher, are we to accept this humiliation? You brought this upon yourselves. Sun Yuan Chao retorted sharply. After all, you are future commanders of the military. You have lost in both wit and evidence against him, and now you come to me to lament your plight. Will you also come to complain about losing battles in the future, claiming the enemy was too cunning? Fong Chao nearly choked on his indignation. This is not the same. Sun Yuan Chao issued a directive, leave. Go back and reflect on your actions. Yes. The group departed, feeling utterly dejected. Upon exiting the office building, they spotted Lin Hui waiting at the bottom of the steps. Oh, you're out? He greeted with a grin. Is the little report finished? Tell me, how is the teacher planning to punish me? Fong Chao clenched his fists in frustration, gritting his teeth. You've outsmarted us this time. But if I find evidence, you'll see. Lin Hui chuckled. I'm afraid I'm already quite presentable. If you find more, you'll have no way out. Fong Chao and his companions were nearly driven to the brink of fury. Conversing with this fellow was nothing short of torment. Fong Chao retorted, don't get too complacent. The monthly exam is approaching. Your military skills may be commendable, but your academic performance will surely be a spectacle. Lin Hui raised an eyebrow. That remains to be seen. Let us wait and observe. Let us go. Fong Chao scoffed and led his group to depart. Just a few steps away, Lin Hui's voice called out, wait. He turned back, glaring at him. Speak your mind. Lin Hui smiled and said, Comrade class leader, I truly appreciate your great help this time. If I perform well on the exam, I shall treat you to a meal. Anything within 5 yuan is yours to choose. Having said that, he cheerfully departed. Lu Gao looked at Fong Chao in astonishment. What did you help him with? Why does he want to treat you to a meal? Fong Chao retorted irritably. Who knows? He must be out of his mind. Who the hell needs him to treat them? Besides, what can you eat for 5 yuan? The others nodded in agreement. Indeed. He must be a bit unhinged. Time flew by swiftly, and the monthly exam drew ever closer. Lin Hui, along with a few others, dedicated all their time to studying aside from training. They even bought steamed buns to take back, eating while poring over their books, striving to make the most of every moment. Although Wang Yong and Eru often complained, they truly applied themselves when it came to studying, especially Suda. For him, the opportunity to rise in rank was incredibly rare. His dream was to remain in the army and continue contributing his value. Now that such a promotion opportunity had finally arisen, he was determined not to let it slip away. In the past, he had exerted himself physically. Now, he would equally commit himself to his studies with fervor. Influenced by the others, Zhang Wei also began to study diligently. Days passed swiftly, and the monthly exam finally arrived. On that morning, all students of the grade were assigned to various classrooms, with each person seated a desk apart and a proctor present in each examination room. By chance, Fong Chao and Lu Gao found themselves in the same examination room. Upon entering, They spotted Lin Hui at the window side, cheerfully greeting them. Oh, what a coincidence. We ended up in the same exam room. Fang Chao shot him a glare, completely ignoring him. He turned to the others behind him and whispered, "Let us perform well today. Class 12 has already started competing with us. We must do our best. We cannot allow that bunch to drag us down and affect our overall score." The others nodded earnestly, though uncertainty lingered in their hearts. With Lin Hui and his group of deadweights around, the class average was bound to drop. It seemed likely that their scores would be overshadowed by those from other classes. Soon, everyone settled into their seats. As the school bell rang, the exam officially commenced. Every student retrieved a black pen and began to write furiously on their papers. Fang Chao calmly glanced at the exam paper, a confident smile curling at the corners of his mouth. This is exceedingly simple. For a scholar of his caliber, these questions were merely child's play. In less than half an hour, he completed one side of the paper. Just as he was about to flip it over to continue answering, a figure suddenly walked past him. He looked up, stunned. What on earth is this kid doing? There stood Lin Hui at the podium, handing in his paper. The proctor, bewildered, glanced at the watch and then back at him. You're submitting already? Have you finished? Lin Hui smiled shyly. It's quite simple. I'll be done in no time. Are you sure you don't want to double check? No need. Lin Hui replied with a smile. The questions this time are too easy. I wonder if they're catering specifically to us underachievers. Teacher, I shall take my leave now. Observing Lin Hui swaggering out of the examination hall, Fang Chao and his companions slammed their jaws onto the desks. Goodness, could it be that he submitted a blank paper? Chapter 234. How is he not illiterate? Yet he manages to score first. Upon exiting the examination room, Lin Hui stretched contentedly. Just as he was about to leave, a voice abruptly called out from behind, "Halt." Turning around, Lin Hui was met with the gaze of Vice Principal Chen Qing, who had come to supervise from another examination venue. Greetings, leader. Chen scrutinized him with a predatory glare. What are you up to, young man? Why are you loitering outside during the exam? Lin Hui replied earnestly, I have completed my exam and submitted my paper. Chen raised his hand to check the time, sneering. You finished writing before even half the allotted time had elapsed? He glanced into the examination room, where the diligent students were engrossed in their work, while Lin Hui's seat sat desolate, with him the sole early leaver. Furrowing his brow, Chen inquired, Did you submit a blank paper or merely scribble nonsense? Everyone else is still answering, yet you emerged with astonishing speed. Feigning a look of grievance, Lin Hui responded, Leader, how could you think that of me? I diligently wrote every word of the exam. You can see how earnestly I have been studying. This monthly assessment is crucial, tied to our graduation results. How could I afford to be careless? I truly completed everything before coming out. Chen huffed, I doubt you would dare to be frivolous. Lin Hui chuckled, Leader, if there is nothing else, I shall return to review for my other subjects. We have 2 more exams this afternoon. Chen waved his hand. Go on, go on. Study well, and do your best. Yes. Watching Lin Hui's departing figure, Chen was filled with suspicion. What on earth is this rascal up to? He felt an overwhelming urge to inspect Lin Hui's paper, but ultimately refrained. Regardless of how he performed, the paper had already been submitted. It was best to wait for the results. He sighed. I hope you genuinely took the exam seriously and were not just fooling around. Do not let me be mistaken. The first examination concluded swiftly. Wang Yong and Chen Eru, upon hearing the bell signaling the end, only submitted their papers after the teacher urged them twice. Upon returning to the dormitory, Lin Hui was engrossed in a book while munching on bread. How did it go? The two, with faces etched in despair, immediately began to lament. Wang Yong, with a sorrowful expression, exclaimed, It was dreadful. Those questions were exceedingly difficult, especially the last 2 major problems. They nearly burned out my CPU. Chen Eru's countenance resembled that of a large, overripe pumpkin. Brother Hui. I came out to check the answers and discovered I had made numerous errors on the fill-in-the-blank questions, and I got the second and third multiple-choice questions entirely wrong. It felt quite challenging. Suda and Zhang Wei wore equally grim expressions. This examination had proven to be quite formidable for them, leaving everyone uncertain. Lin Hui reassured them, You have worked hard enough during this period. As for the final results, let us not dwell on that. As the saying goes, you should put in the effort and leave the rest to fate. Focus on reviewing the upcoming subjects and strive for better results. Upon hearing these words, the expressions of everyone gradually relaxed. They all took out their books and began to diligently review the upcoming exam content. At noon, Lin Hui emerged from the cafeteria after finishing his meal. He halted, turning around to see Fang Chao and his group approaching with a menacing demeanor. Is there something you need? Lin Hui inquired, slightly confused. Fang Chao pointed at him rudely. You, is this intentional? Lin Hui failed to comprehend. What do you mean? LV Gao, visibly enraged, retorted, What are you pretending for? Are you deliberately trying to sabotage our class? Li Shanghe chimed in angrily. We're not even halfway through the exam time, and you submitted your paper early. It's surely blank. Fang Chao glared at him with utmost seriousness. Listen, we may not get along typically, and I admit I have my reservations about you, but when it comes to exams and the collective honor of our class, you absolutely cannot falter. This exam is one thing, but for the next one, I expect you to take it seriously, even if you can't answer. Just sit there and think hard. Even if it's a bunch of nonsense, fill that paper. After delivering this ultimatum, he turned and left with his group. Lin Hui scoffed. What a bunch of fools, what nonsense are they spouting? The group halted, and Fang Chao widened his eyes. What did we just say? LV Gao looked at him with a straight face. He called you a big fool. Fang Chao erupted in anger. Clearly, he called us fools. What's wrong with your hearing? He turned back, pointing at Lin Hui. You scoundrel, if you don't perform well and drag down the whole class, I want to let this go. Lin Hui chuckled. Just don't be shocked when you see my results. Over the next few days, several rounds of exams took place. Lin Hui consistently submitted his paper half an hour early. It wasn't he out of a desire to show off. With the assistance of the system, he had nearly achieved photographic memory of the material he studied. Thus, these exams were as simple as child's play for him. Conversely, those two fools were always the last to hand in their papers, only doing so under the watchful eye of the proctor. Fortunately, they managed to complete all questions within the allotted time. After the final assessment concluded, Fang Chao and the others exited the examination hall with a long sigh of relief. Finally done. LV Gao wore a smile. We've mostly reviewed the exam content in advance. We shouldn't fare too poorly. Li Shanghe grinned. I'd say we performed exceptionally. On the bonus question, I provided 2 methods of solving it. A perfect score is assured. The others turned to Fang Chao, class leader. These are your strong subjects, and you've been working hard lately. You must have performed even better, right? Fang Chao grimaced. What good is our performance? With those transfer students among us, no matter how well we do, we'll still be dragged down unless we can get rid of them. The group fell silent, their teeth gritting in frustration. This time, Class 10 was competing fiercely with other classes. Everyone was fully prepared, determined to outshine their opponents in the monthly exam. Little did they expect that 5 deadweights would join their ranks. With those few hindering them, no matter how well they performed, it would all be in vain unless they could find a way to remove them. Lu Chao was ablaze with fury for this examination. The entire class had exerted tremendous effort, particularly you, the class monitor, who had risen early and toiled late, exhausted to the bone. If our grades are adversely affected this time, I shall not hesitate to petition the principal to have them removed. The others echoed his indignation. Indeed, even if it means unfurling banners in protest at school or staging a sit-in, we must ensure they are ousted. We cannot allow a few rotten apples to spoil the entire pot. Fang Chao nodded in agreement. Just wait. When the results are released the day after tomorrow, they shall see. As evening fell, Lin Hui and his companions busied themselves with their studies. Before lights out, he even organized a small celebration in the dormitory, marking the successful conclusion of the examination. The table was laden with instant noodles, cola, spicy strips, squid jerky, and beef jerky, everything one could desire. Observing this merry gathering, the residents of other dormitories were filled with envy. How dare they celebrate before the results are even announced? Do they not care about their grades at all? Where did they procure such an abundance of food? Are they running a convenience store? 2 days later, the results were unveiled. Everyone rushed to the notice board downstairs at dawn to check. Each examination concluded with a ranking, allowing for an approximate assessment of the class's overall performance. Fang Chao squeezed to the front of the crowd, scanning the list from bottom to top. Upon discovering he had secured 5th place in the grade, he was overjoyed. He had advanced 3 positions since the last exam. It seemed all the hard work had not been in vain. The others immediately began to praise him. The class monitor, as expected, had made remarkable progress. I knew you would excel this time. Monitor, please teach me your ways. I too wish to improve in the next examination. Fang Chao, with his head held high, proudly proclaimed. Honestly, this exam was merely comprised of fundamental questions, nothing too challenging. If you all pay attention in class and take good notes, achieving excellent grades is not difficult at all. At that moment, Lu Gao's expression suddenly shifted, his lips trembling as he asked, Monitor, the fellow we have always been at odds with, is it Lin Hui? Fang Chao looked at him as if he were a fool. Yes, so what? Lu Gao swallowed hard, pointing upward. Then, take a look, is the first place his name? Everyone turned in astonishment to see the name Lin Hui glaring back at them in bold letters beside the top score. Holy hell, this cannot be. Could it be a case of mistaken identity? Is there another Lin Hui in our grade? It seems unlikely, but it cannot possibly be him. He is illiterate, is he not? Fang Chao shook his head violently, unable to believe it. It cannot be. It is absolutely impossible. It must be a coincidence. Lu Gao quickly came to the same conclusion, nodding fervently. Yes, it is utterly impossible for him. How could such a scoundrel possibly achieve 1st place? Li Shanghe chimed in. That guy is just a complete illiterate from the grassroots. How could he possibly take the top spot? Moreover, he even submitted a blank paper ahead of time. It must be some genius from another class, it has to be. As the group grew increasingly agitated, a sense of uncertainty gnawed at their hearts, for there was simply no other person with that name in their grade. Lu Gao turned to the teacher beside him and inquired, "Teacher, who is this Lin Hui? Which class is he from?" The teacher looked at him in surprise. "Isn't he from your class?" Everyone's eyes widened in horror. No way, it really is that kid. Fang Chao's mind buzzed, as if he had suffered 1,000 critical hits. How could this be possible? Lin Hui had only just arrived and studied for a brief period. How could he possibly rise to such heights and achieve the top rank in the grade? Fang Chao had been diligent and hardworking since high school, maintaining excellent grades after being admitted to Lu University. This was his greatest pride, the pinnacle of his achievements. Yet, unexpectedly, he was surpassed by a recruit who had barely any formal education. Fang Chao forced a smile and hopefully asked, "Teacher, could there be a mistake?" The teacher replied curtly, "You don't even recognize a classmate from your own class? By the way, he seems to have been sent here as a promoted soldier from the army. It's impressive that a transfer student can perform so well. You all should strive to emulate him." Fang Chao felt a sharp pang in his throat, nearly choking on his own blood. Damn his ancestors, it really is that little rascal. Chapter 235, Dare to compete for our students? I'll take you down. Dingling. The lunch bell rang. The subject teacher, carrying textbooks and a thermos, had just stepped out of the classroom. The head teacher, Sun Yuanzhao, walked in right after. "Let's get going, don't waste everyone's meal time." All the students exchanged glances and returned to their seats. Sun Yuanzhao propped himself on the podium, smiling as he said, "I want to talk to you all about this month's exam." He continued, "Our class performed quite well overall, ranking 4th in the entire grade. Although we've dropped 1 place from last month, I am still very satisfied." He smiled and added, "To be honest, with 5 new students from the army joining us, I was prepared for our rank to fall to 8th or 9th, but I never expected them to give me such a tremendous surprise." Lin Hui and the others held their heads high, brimming with spirit, as they received praise. The expressions of the other students turned as grim as if they had swallowed dead flies. They had anticipated that these newcomers would drag them down, but the unexpected turn of events struck them like a slap in the face. Sun Yuanzhao reflected, "As you all know, students coming from the grassroots army typically have a weaker educational background, and there is indeed a significant gap compared to those of you present. However, their performance this time truly astonished me. Although they have studied for 3 years less than you, they managed to catch up in such a short time without holding back the class. This perseverance is commendable and worthy of your admiration." He continued, "I have observed that they study diligently, with a grounded and earnest approach. After completing their daily rigorous training, they still manage to persist in their studies, utilizing even their rest periods for learning. Frankly, at this point, I no longer care how many points they score. Their formidable willpower and indomitable spirit embody the legacy we, the soldiers of the people, have always upheld." Sun Yuanzhao's tone became grave, as he stated with utmost seriousness, "Why are we able to defeat our enemies in the most challenging times? Why were we able to prevail over the world's strongest army with the worst weapons? Why has our nation managed to achieve remarkable strength in such a short span of time? It is due to our soldiers, who embody resilience, conviction, and unwavering will." He surveyed everyone present and solemnly declared, "Such spirit is what you must learn and inherit in the future. Do you understand?" "Yes." The crowd responded in unison. Sun Yuanzhao nodded with satisfaction, his gaze landing on Lin Hui. "Lastly, I must commend Lin Hui. Not only does he possess such spirit, but he also has an extraordinary capacity for learning. In this recent monthly examination, he astonishingly ranked 1st in the entire grade, leaving even the principal astounded." He gestured towards others. "Now, look at some of you, who often boast about being top students. How can a so-called scholar fall short of this? You frequently oppose him. Yet how can you hold your head high?" Fang Chao and his group felt their faces flush with embarrassment, wishing for a crack in the floor to disappear into. Indeed, comparison can be disheartening. They now understood. Lin Hui was the rare kind of individual who seemed destined for success. With just a modicum of effort, he could outpace them by great margins. To oppose him was tantamount to courting disaster. Lin Hui, brimming with pride, glanced at Fang Chao. "Now you recognize who truly holds the upper hand, don't you?" Sun Yuanzhao turned to Wang Yong and the others, continuing his praise. Apart from Lin Hui, the other 4 also performed admirably in the examination, warranting commendation. Each of their scores met the passing threshold. Although they still ranked low in class, their efforts are nonetheless commendable. Sometimes, the journey is more significant than the outcome. Wang Yong and Shen Eru were so exhilarated that they nearly leapt from their seats. Su De exhaled a sigh of relief, his face breaking into a relaxed smile. Indeed, hard work is bound to yield rewards. Zhang Wei silently rejoiced, grateful for the notes Lin Hui had provided. Otherwise, passing would have been unattainable. Sun Yuanzhao, smiling, announced, Therefore, I intend to award the title of Outstanding Student to Lin Hui and his 4 companions. Does anyone object? The crowd shouted in unison, no objections. Feng Chao glanced back at Lin Hui, who smiled back, exuding confidence. Feng Chao's expression was complex. He managed a wry smile before turning away. After a brief conclusion, Sun Yuanchao departed. The group quickly left the classroom, forming a line to head to the cafeteria. Only Lin Hui and a few others remained. Before he could invite everyone to dine together, the 4 rushed forward, lifting him into the air, exultantly chanting, "Long live Brother Hui! Long live Brother Hui!" Once he was set down, they gazed at him with sparkling eyes, brimming with excitement. "Brother Hui, it is clear that wherever you go, being with you is undoubtedly the right choice. In this lifetime, we are steadfastly by your side. From now on, we shall surely follow your lead, unwavering and loyal." Lin Hui's wisdom and tactics left them in profound admiration, wholeheartedly devoted. In this lifetime, they had resolved to cling to this pillar of strength. Through storms and trials, they would not waver. In ancient times, this would be akin to devoted retainers bound by the ties of life and death. Lin Hui laughed heartily. "Now you recognize my prowess, don't you? From this moment forth, I shall dictate the terms, and spare me your incessant complaints." Wang Yong immediately pledged his loyalty. "Yes, yes, Brother Hui. If you say to go east, we shall not venture west. If you command us to relieve ourselves, we shall comply without hesitation." Lin Hui chuckled mischievously. "Is that so? Then I must put it to the test. You lot, go and indulge in excrement." Everyone was momentarily stunned, rendered speechless. Wang Yong stammered, "No, Brother Hui, that seems a bit excessive, doesn't it? It borders on the grotesque." Lin Hui glared. "What? Have you forgotten what was just said? If you dare not even consume excrement, how can you claim to follow my lead?" He scoffed and turned to leave. Wang Yong called him back, steeling himself. "Brother Hui, tell me where to find it, and I shall go at once." Chun Eru chimed in. "Brother Hui, at your command. I could empty the school's cesspool." Suda felt nauseated, his lips twitching. These fellows were truly ruthless. Yet, as a soldier, one's words are as binding as spilled water. He owed his current standing to Lin Hui. Now was the time to demonstrate loyalty. So he joined Zhang Wei in raising their voices defiantly. "I too am resolute." Lin Hui turned with a sly grin. "Really? Indeed. Well then, let us not bother with the cesspool. That is stale and unhealthy. Instead, I shall provide a fresh offering. Are you willing to partake?" "What the hell? We were merely jesting, and you're serious?" A tumult of emotions surged within them. They shut their eyes, resolutely declaring, "Eat." Lin Hui laughed heartily. "Enough, enough. I was merely testing you. I am not so twisted. Following me will only yield benefits, and you shall never suffer losses." The group wiped their brows, sighing in relief. Thankfully, it was not genuine. Otherwise, they might have wished for death. "Come, let us dine." Lin Hui put his arm around a few of them, and they headed outside. As they stepped into the corridor, they were taken aback. The entire 10th class was gathered outside, blocking their way. Lin Hui frowned slightly, unsure of their intentions. The others became instantly alert, with Wang Yong rolling up his sleeves. "What is this? Are you all sore losers, looking for a fight?" Chen Eru, not to be outdone, also rolled up his sleeves. "Come on, I'll stand my ground. Just so you know, I was a general in my past life, so tread carefully." The opposing group fell silent, not a word uttered. Feng Chao approached with a serious expression, scrutinizing Lin Hui for a considerable time. Suddenly, he raised his right hand in salute. "Salute." Instantly, everyone behind him saluted. Lin Hui and his companions were bewildered. What does this mean? Is it respect before conflict? Upon seeing Feng Chao raise his hand, Lin Hui had braced for a fight, almost unleashing his inner power with a swift kick, but thankfully he refrained in time. Feng Chao lowered his hand and earnestly stated, "Lin Hui, I apologize. We were thoughtless before, and we were in the wrong. Here, we sincerely apologize to you." Lu Gao also expressed regret. "We should not have looked down upon you. My apologies." Li Changhe was filled with guilt. "The homeroom teacher is right. Your spirit and willpower are worthy of our admiration. We should not have troubled you." Feng Chao took a deep breath and said, "To be honest, we once held ourselves in too high regard, thinking ourselves to be the elite, thus looking down on you from the grassroots military. However, after seeing you all, I realized that there are indeed greater talents beyond our own. The military is a grand melting pot, teeming with hidden talents of all kinds. It was our narrow perspective that belittled others." He extended his right hand towards Lin Hui and declared, "Let bygones be bygones. Let's make amends." Wang Yong and his group were left utterly bewildered. Wow, that was a rapid change of attitude. Lin Hui smiled faintly. Over time, he had come to understand them better. They were not bad. It was just that a sudden influx of individuals with lesser educational backgrounds had disrupted their class dynamics, and these newcomers had outperformed them in military prowess. Such elite individuals naturally felt uncomfortable, harboring their own pride. Nonetheless, They accepted their fates gracefully, demonstrating true masculinity by being straightforward and unpretentious. Lin Hui chuckled heartily and grasped Feng Chao's hand firmly. What are you saying? We are one class, one collective. As long as misunderstandings are resolved, we are friends and close comrades. Feng Chao beamed with a smile, just about to embrace him when a shrill voice pierced the air from behind. Oh, aren't you all from Class 10? Crying in the corridor, are we? Here. Have some tissues. Everyone turned abruptly to see students from Class 12 marching towards them in a line. At that moment, Feng Chao and the others' expressions darkened. The recent monthly exam had turned into a competition between their class and Class 12. They had dropped a rank, while the other class had secured the top position in the grade. Seeing their smug faces, Feng Chao felt irked. What business is it of yours? Are we eating your food? Class 12's leader, Zhao Daiju, sneered. Oh, are you getting all riled up? It's just one rank drop. What's the big deal? Your Class 10 has always been underperforming. Losing a bit is perfectly normal. We won't mock you for being poor performers. Instead, we will nurture you with love and care. Ha! The entire Class 10 seethed with frustration, wishing they could land a couple of punches on him. Zhao Daiju continued mockingly. Have you come up with any excuses for your failure in the exam? If not, I can assist you. Didn't you have 5 military officers come to your class, dragging you down? How about we transfer them to our class? We are strong and not afraid of being held back. Let us compete again next time. And if you still can't match us, you'll have to admit your lack of ability. Ha! The laughter from Class 12 was excruciatingly grating. All eyes in Class 10 turned fierce with anger. Lin Hui's face darkened. Damn it, this guy is even more infuriating than I am. The two other hotheads rolled up their sleeves, ready to confront the provocation. What is this? Looking for trouble? Looking for trouble? No, I'm just offering help. Zhao Daiju chuckled ominously. All right, those 5 fellows belong to us now. Before he could finish his words, a figure darted forward, lunging towards the opposite side. Everyone was left in a state of shock. Even Lin Hui's eyes widened in disbelief. Goodness, this lad is remarkably bold. Feng Chao tackled Zhao Daiju to the ground, his furious fists landing heavy blows on his face. Damn it, how dare you compete with me for people? I'll make you pay? Chapter 236. What it means to be brothers inside the guidance office. A group of students lined up, filing out from within. The individuals involved in the recent scuffle stood with their heads bowed, forming 2 rows. Chen Qing sat silently on the sofa. The head of the guidance office paced back and forth with his hands clasped behind his back. Suddenly, he halted, slamming his hand on the desk. After all these years of teaching, I have never witnessed such a scene, where a larger group is overpowered by a smaller one. The 12th class, led by Zhao Daiju, wore bruised faces, their hearts filled with indignation. The headmaster, visibly enraged, demanded, Now, tell me, what transpired? Zhao Daiju exclaimed in protest. Director, we merely approached them to chat. We did nothing wrong. They suddenly attacked us. We were not involved. Feng Chao shouted loudly, Sir. The director turned to him. Speak. Feng Chao maintained a serious demeanor. They attempted to take our people, and that's when we retaliated. Take people? Whom do you mean? Zhao Daiju and his companions were bewildered, exchanging confused glances. Feng Chao glared at them. Did you not say earlier that you intended to take those 5 to your class? I must inform you. They are our comrades, our classmates, and we will not allow you to take them. Exactly. The others chimed in immediately. Zhao Daiju, frustrated, retorted. That's absurd. We were just joking. We didn't genuinely intend to take anyone. Feng Chao replied with righteous conviction. Even jokes like that are unacceptable. If you continue to jest in such a manner, we will retaliate. With a loud clap, the director slammed his hand on the desk again. This is outrageous. Do you consider yourselves thugs or ruffians? Though you have not yet entered the army, wearing this uniform makes you soldiers. Is this how soldiers behave? When you reach the grassroots level, will you lead your fellow soldiers astray? All fell silent, closing their mouths. The director coldly snorted and waved his hand dismissively. Enough. Cease this embarrassing display. All participants in the brawl must write a thorough reflection of 10,000 words and recite it publicly during morning exercises next time. He pointed at a group. You all, and you, must carry weights and run 20 kilometers on the playground. Afterward, report for night duty. Yes. Feng Chao and the others immediately responded. Zhao Daiju and his group wore expressions of despair, feeling deeply wronged. Director, we were the ones who got beaten. This has nothing to do with us. The director glared at them. To be beaten so thoroughly as soldiers is disgraceful. You should be grateful I am not imposing a heavier punishment. Zhao Daiju was on the verge of tears. Those rascals acted dishonorably, launching a sneak attack. Report. Lin Hui suddenly entered from outside, calling out. What is it? I have something to say. The director glared at him coldly. What? Do you wish to defend them? It was all your doing. When the fight broke out, couldn't you have intervened? Lin Hui replied with a smile. Director, I firmly believe my comrades were justified. A soldier devoid of valor and perseverance ceases to be a soldier, wouldn't you agree? The instructional director rolled his eyes in exasperation. Stop bringing your grassroots military tactics here. This is a school, and don't bore me with your nonsense. Indeed, Lin Hui responded earnestly, if I fought alongside them, then let the punishment fall upon us all. In an instant, Fong Chao and his group were taken aback. Their gazes toward Lin Hui transformed. Although Lin Hui had not struck a blow, and the altercation had only just begun before the inspectors arrived to separate them, no one expected Lin Hui to willingly shoulder the responsibility alongside them in solidarity. Yes, we all participated. Wang Yong and the others stepped forward in unison, firmly standing by Lin Hui. Whether it meant enduring punishment or hardship, they were prepared to face it together. Moreover, they appreciated Fong Chao and his crew for their audacity. They had acted decisively, their temperaments aligning well. The instructional director was so taken aback that he laughed in disbelief. In all my years as an instructional director, this is the first time I've encountered students so eager to accept blame. Fine, fine, you all run together. You will each compose a 10,000-word reflection. Not a single character less. Yes, sir. Lin Hui saluted, turning to wink at Fong Chao, who smiled in return. He thought, this fight was worthwhile. These brothers are worth befriending. The instructional director waved his hand dismissively. All of you, get out. The group hurriedly exited the office. Once they had departed, the instructional director sank into the sofa, lifting his teacup with a wry smile. Ah, old Chun, these soldiers from the grassroots are indeed wild and loyal. Chen Qing laughed heartily, especially that Lin Hui, right? The instructional director nodded. The commander's son possesses true grit. It must be genetic. Sighing, he continued. If we could have more soldiers from the grassroots at our academy, imbued with such spirit, it would be splendid. They must learn what it truly means to embody the essence of a soldier. Chen Qing smiled and nodded, internally praising, I was right about Lin Hui. He is courageous and principled, truly commendable. On the playground, Lin Hui and his group, under the watchful eyes of two instructors, donned their backpacks and sprinted toward the field. Li Shanghe turned back, saying, Lin Hui, you could have chosen not to stand up just now. Lu Gao, still fuming, added, we fought willingly. Those guys were just asking for it. What does being first in class even mean? If they had the capability, they'd be solo first in the grade like you. Fong Chao, feeling somewhat embarrassed, said, this is merely us repaying what we owed you. You needn't share our punishment. Lin Hui, playfully punching one of them, chuckled. What are you saying? We are classmates, comrades. There's no debt between us. Fong Chao sighed, but we did give you a hard time earlier. That was indeed our fault. Lin Hui retorted, saying that makes it sound like we are strangers. When have you ever had the upper hand? Wasn't it me who had you in a tight spot? The group nearly choked in embarrassment at the memory. Such humiliating incidents were best left unspoken, especially as Fong Chao's laptop still refused to power on. Lin Hui smiled and said, both the upper and lower lips experience friction. Even siblings occasionally squabble. Our little misunderstandings are truly inconsequential. Once on the battlefield, we become comrades bound by life and death. If I continue to prattle, do not blame me for not recognizing you. Indeed, Fong Chao responded cheerfully. Lin Hui is absolutely correct. Our previous words were mere trifles, for we are all brothers. Laughter erupted among the crowd. Lin Hui glanced at the group of punished individuals running not far away and turned back to Fong Chao with a grin. Shall we challenge them? Fong Chao immediately understood and nodded in agreement. Lin Hui, invigorated, called out to the others, those with strength, charge with me. Those who lack it, hold on to us. Together, we shall surpass them. Let us show them what we're made of. Everyone joined forces and surged forward. The members of Zhao Deju's team, witnessing their sudden advance, were taken aback, eyes wide with disbelief. No way. They're actually trying to outpace us. Let us crush them. If we can't win in a fight, we must prevail in a race. On the playground, the two groups pursued each other, racing back and forth. Nearby, the instructors were left astounded. Goodness. These individuals are clearly overindulged, competing fiercely even while being punished. Are they out of their minds? Another instructor nodded knowingly. It appears to be more than just a little madness. It's a serious condition. One might think a sprinting competition is underway at the school. As evening fell, a military vehicle drove into the courtyard. Lin Guangyao adjusted his attire as he stepped out of the car. Upon entering the house, he was greeted by a table laden with an abundance of dishes. Jiang Lanying, wearing an apron, emerged from the kitchen carrying a plate of steamed fish. You're back. Wash your hands and let us eat. Lin Guangyao, astonished by the lavish spread, asked, Dear, why such a feast today? It's neither a holiday nor a festival. Jiang Lanying shot him a glance. Even if it were a holiday, you wouldn't remember spending all your time in the army, forgetting our wedding anniversary altogether. Today is our wedding anniversary? Lin Guangyao exclaimed, slapping his forehead. I must hurry to buy flowers. Jiang Lanying, exasperated, said, Sit down. Who said today was an anniversary? Just eat. Lin Guangyao wiped his hands and took a seat, smiling. I am grateful for the sumptuous meal you have prepared, my dear. Now let us eat. All right. Zhang Laniying removed her apron and watched him eat without touching her chopsticks. After a long while, she finally spoke. Thank you. Lin Guangyao waved his hand dismissively. We are old married folks. There's no need for thanks. Besides, why would you thank me? You made all this food. A smile crept onto Zhang Laniying's lips. I visited the school today. You went to the school? Yes. Did he agree to go with you? Zhang Laniying shook her head. No, he did not. However, I have never seen such an expression on Xiao Hui's face. A fervent desire to accomplish something and an earnest wish to excel. Lin Guangyao set down his chopsticks and listened intently. He had already learned from Qin about his wife's visit to the school, but the specifics remained unclear to him. He was even uncertain how Lin Hui managed to persuade his mother to allow him to stay in the army. Zhang Laniying took a deep breath and remarked, in the past, I regarded Xiao Hui as a commercial prodigy. However, I could discern that each time he secured a deal, his demeanor was rather indifferent and casual. Undeniably, he possesses considerable talent in this domain, yet I failed to perceive any genuine joy in his achievements. When he returned to inform me of closing a 200 million deal, it felt as effortless as buying a pair of shoes on a whim. She continued, even during our outings, he always wears a more sorrowful expression than one of joy, leaving me with a sense of emptiness and void. I have tried various methods, but Zhang Laniying gazed into Lin Guangyao's eyes. This time, when I sought him out, I witnessed a true sense of happiness on his face. The eldest and the second, I have seemingly nurtured in vain. They both regard you as their role model, aspiring to emulate you. Yet, from Lin Hui's countenance, it is clear that he earnestly desires to excel in his endeavors and to serve as a commendable soldier. He is unlike the elder and the second. He is distinctly different from you. He finds genuine joy in his military service. Lin Guangyao was momentarily taken aback. This notion had never crossed his mind. Military service is a responsibility, an obligation. Where could one find joy in such a duty? The two exchanged glances for an extended moment, each silent. Zhang Laniying broke the silence. I have just received news that Xiao Hui has excelled at Lu University, achieving the top rank in his grade. Lin Guangyao burst into hearty laughter. I told you this kid was capable, didn't I? What did I say back then? You simply would not believe. Zhang Laniying smacked the table, startling him into silence. You win this time. With that, she turned to leave. After taking a few steps, she suddenly halted and looked back, saying, make sure to finish all the dishes. They were specially prepared for you. You must thank Xiao Hui. Otherwise, who would bother to cook for you? Indeed. Lin Guangyao sat in his chair, silently smiling, as Lin Hui's radiant smile danced in his thoughts. You rascal, I knew you could do it. Chapter 237, Shock. Has Lin Hui's identity as a wealthy individual been revealed? 3 cards to 2. Boom. A small 5. Pass. Inside the dormitory over the weekend, the sounds of cards slapping resonated throughout. Wang Yong and his 3 companions were engrossed in a game of poker, their faces adorned with sticky notes. They had thoroughly exhausted the school's reading room, leisure area, and audiovisual room, and finding themselves utterly bored, they had resorted to staying in the dormitory to play cards. At that moment, Lin Hui entered, burdened with a pile of books, which he dropped heavily onto the table. The 2 mischief makers immediately despaired. Come on, so many books. It's the weekend, Brother Hui, spare us. Suda's lips twitched in annoyance. We just finished our exams. Let us enjoy a day of relaxation. Lin Hui rolled his eyes. Do you think I want to study? Today is a break. This is for tomorrow's lessons. Upon hearing this, the group's faces blossomed with joyous smiles once again. Chun Eru, grinning, chimed in with playful banter. In this world, only Brother Hui is the best. Children of Brother Hui are like treasures. In Brother Hui's embrace, happiness is never lacking. Enough of the nonsense. Lin Hui waved his hand dismissively. Do you want to join me for some leisure time? With a resounding clap, everyone tossed their cards onto the bed and rushed over excitedly. Yes, we want to. Let us go explore the city center. I have yet to experience the grandeur of a metropolis. I have heard tales of numerous ladies showcasing their legs on the streets. I am eager to witness for myself the extent of their allure. Lin Hui smiled faintly, saying, what are we waiting for? Quickly change your clothes and prepare to set off. Zhang Wei, go fetch a leave note from the teacher. All right. Zhang Wei dashed out to request permission. The others, brimming with excitement, changed into casual attire, ready for a day of revelry. Just as they stepped outside, they encountered Feng Chao and his companions, who had also donned casual outfits. Lin Hui was slightly taken aback. Are you all heading out too? Feng Chao beamed. We've all been quite exhausted from our recent studies, and we were just about to seek you out for a little outing. Come, let us go together. I'll treat you to a meal. Lu Gao chuckled. Make sure not to be too polite with the class monitor. His family is wealthy. Li Shanghan nodded in agreement. Indeed, the class monitor hails from a prosperous family, with several grand mansions. Lin Hui grinned. If someone is treating us to a meal, why should I hold back? Let us go. The group formed a line at the gate, presenting their leave notes, and the guard promptly granted them passage. The regiment operated under a closed management system. Without a leave note, one could not exit at all. As Lin Hui and his friends prepared to wait at the station for a bus, they were suddenly halted by Fong Chao's voice. Where are you going? To take the bus, they replied. What bus? Come with us, Fong Chao insisted. The group paused, realizing they were quite far from the city center. Surely, they weren't expected to walk all that way? Following Fong Chao, they crossed a street and beheld a row of gleaming Mercedes-Benz E-Class cars, all with their hazard lights flashing, as if awaiting their arrival. Lin Hui's curiosity piqued. What are these cars? Lu Gao proudly explained. Just as I said, the class monitor's family is affluent. See those cars? They are our designated transport. Wang Yong's eyes widened in astonishment. Class monitor, how come your family has so many cars? Are you in the auto trade? Fong Chao chuckled. My father runs a company. These vehicles are for entertaining guests. Last night, I simply made a phone call to see if I could borrow them, and my father arranged everything. Wang Yong clicked his tongue. Your family is incredibly wealthy. Chun Eru gazed enviously. If I could drive one of these back to my village someday, I'd be the talk of the town. The young ladies would surely flock to me. Lin Hui gave Fong Chao a thumbs up, praising, truly. You are the distinguished young master, Fong. I've always sensed your exceptional demeanor, and indeed, you are a scion of a prominent family. Let us go. Today we shall ride in a grand Mercedes and experience the life of the affluent. The group joyfully climbed into the vehicles, and the convoy soon set off. As they gazed out at the ever-changing scenery, Wang Yong and the others were filled with exhilaration, akin to birds released from their cages. Since entering the military, they had not had the opportunity to enjoy such freedom for a long time. Today was a rare chance. Lin Hui inquired with curiosity, where are we headed? Fong Chao, seated in the front passenger seat, turned back and replied, first, we're going to dine at the Zijing Hotel. The two excited companions exclaimed, wow, that name sounds incredibly luxurious. Fong Chao smiled with pride. Of course, it is the finest hotel in the area, a place not easily affordable for the average person. Lin Hui politely remarked, just a light meal will suffice. How much could it possibly cost at a place like this? I've already made the reservation. Fong Chao, with a serious demeanor, responded, recently, I've caused you quite a bit of trouble. Though I have apologized before, today I intend to make amends properly. It is only right to invest a little. Wang Yong chuckled foolishly. So we'll be benefiting from Brother Hui's generosity? Chun Eru looked at Lin Hui eagerly. Brother Hui, let us go. I've never dined at a high-end restaurant before. Lin Hui, with a resigned wave of his hand, said, all right, I'll follow your arrangements. The convoy swiftly arrived at the destination. Upon entering the hotel, the two fools gazed at the opulent lobby, unsure of where to place their hands. Such a venue is typically one that ordinary people would avoid. Those who can afford to dine here are either wealthy or noble. Lin Hui glanced around. No wonder this is the most luxurious hotel in the area. It certainly possesses grandeur. Good day, sir. How many of you? A uniformed headwaiter approached with enthusiasm. Fong Chao replied courteously. Hello, I have a reservation for the Shana Hall. The headwaiter smiled. You must be Mr. Fong. Everything has been arranged. Please follow me. Fong Chao turned to beckon everyone to proceed. Most were visiting such an upscale establishment for the first time, their excitement evident as they looked around in wonder. Just as they ventured a few steps inside, someone suddenly called out, wait. Lin Hui turned in surprise, as did the others, curious about who had encountered an acquaintance. A middle-aged man, clad in a custom Armani suit and sporting a luxury watch with slicked back hair, hurried towards Lin Hui. Fong Chao asked, astonished, do you know him? Lin Hui furrowed his brow. I don't recognize him. Perhaps he has mistaken me for someone else? The middle-aged man scrutinized him up and down and suddenly grasped his hand, beaming widely. Lin Hui, it's really you. I never expected to see you here for dinner. The others were momentarily bewildered. He even called you by name. How could he not know you? Lin Hui, observing the impeccably dressed man, felt a sudden jolt in his heart. He had heard that his uncle owned a hotel located in this very city. Could it possibly be the Zijing Hotel? Lin Hui suddenly felt a headache coming on. He simply wished to interact with everyone as an ordinary person, without drawing attention to himself. How could he have been recognized? Since joining the military, he had never mentioned his father's status, nor did he wish for anyone to know about his family's wealth. Now encountering this individual, he feared his cover would be blown. Fong Chao, puzzled, inquired, Lin Hui, who is this? Lin Hui quickly fabricated a story. Oh, he used to collect scrap. But after receiving our family's support, I heard he has done well for himself and ended up working here. The middle-aged man looked utterly shocked. When did I ever collect scrap? Lin Hui hastily tried to dismiss him. You all go ahead to the private room. I'll speak with him for a moment and join you shortly. All right, but make it quick, they replied. Once they were gone, Lin Hui swiftly pulled the man aside. The middle-aged man, pointing to himself, was brimming with excitement. Young Master Lin, do you still remember me? Lin Hui looked at him, unable to recall. Who are you? The middle-aged man's face turned crimson with embarrassment. Quickly adjusting his attire, he introduced himself. Lin Xiao, my name is Wang Defa, the executive manager of the Zijing Hotel. I met you during a recent meeting at the headquarters. You are the esteemed nephew of Chairman Jiang. In an instant, Lin Hui realized the connection. A few years ago, when his uncle convened a group conference, he had also attended as a special consultant. At that time,